Good afternoon, or perhaps evening if you live in the EU, but unfortunately I do not. I am Septilins, joined here by the great and wonderful Ultruism to bring you not one, but two incredible games of Overwatch Contenders Trials 2021. But before we jump into all of that, Ult, how you feeling, man? How does it feel to be here?
This is the highest level of Overwatch that I've gotten to cast for so far. Season 3 of Trials, the path to pro is real, guys. I'm very excited about this. And what excites me the most about getting to cast at a level like this is the level of Overwatch we get to see. I mean, I follow teams like OVA Esports, O2 Esports. Now, the guys are going to be joining us in our first game. I've got to see them in Contenders. Now we're starting to take the best from there and level them up.
Absolutely, and in particular, a team that was very strong, but they almost have, a card in their back pocket a little bit in the form of Necros, the Genji player. We talked about that a lot already. I talked about that. It's insane that he's going to be here because when somebody asks me, who's a good Genji, he is the first name out of my mouth. So it's going to be great to see such a high-level player, but at the same time, will that almost be a little bit of a distraction for them as the enemy team here rebrand in progress? They can assume there's going to be a Genji, right? And they can kind of work to play around that. So is that kind of putting your cards on the table a little too early?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that O2 Esports, as they were in Contenders or now has pretty much been playing with their cards face down their entire match. I mean, they came through as pretty much a one-trick team. PvPX has been a notorious Junkrat main who's taken Junkrat against Pharahs and Echoes and actually gone after them in the air. We've seen a couple of clips of him trying with the concussion mine to get up in the air, throwing whip tires at pharmacy combos. I mean, everyone knows what they're playing. It's if they're good enough to beat them, knowing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ult, I don't know if you know this, but I'm sure a lot of people that have ever seen me cast before know Junkrat, my favorite hero in the entire game. I love him. He's super fun to play. I think he's a blast to watch as well. So fingers crossed we do get to see that Junkrat at least a little bit today. But like you said, they kind of, I think Overwatch is so much about adapting to the enemy team and getting ready and kind of changing how you need to succeed. So if a team's coming out a little bit of a one-trick pony, that might be detrimental here in the later stages of Contenders Trials.
Yeah, when everyone knows what you're going to run, you can counterpick, especially when you've got stuff like Junkrat, very good at destroying teams that are grouped up together. So what do? You split up, you take to the air, you take very mobile characters, and the Junkrat can't now spam down a choke. If you got a Genji, you start putting the counters to Genji. You got people like Winston, people like Brigitte that can maybe shut it down the back line, or McCree with the flash. Torb turrets. There's a couple of options that teams are going to have at least one of them available to it. The question is, do you want to now play just to counter the opponents? Or do you want to play something more into your wheelhouse and just play better?
Yeah, that's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Do you play to counter them with a comp you may be a little less comfortable with, or do you go for your tried and true? Go for the comps that got you here and just play to the best of your abilities in those shoes that you fit into so well. We're really going to have to wait and find out, but we'll be jumping in just a couple of minutes here. Our first map, of course, going to be Control, will be Lijiang Tower. Now, this is personally my favorite Control map in the game. I think it's super fun. I love all three stages of the map because they call for different team comps. None of them you can really run the same comp comfortably, and I think Lijiang Tower is really going to force these one-trick ponies to change their footing early on here in this matchup.
I mean, it depends on which map we're going to go to. I definitely agree with you that each of them is quite diverse, but when you start looking at Control Center, the Junkrat main is going to thrive at this point. I mean, those closed corridors are going to play straight into PvPX's lineup. Then you've got Necros with a Genji who can start coming out in something like the Gardens or the Night Market or something, being able to use those walls to their advantage. Chasm, very proficient ball player as well, will love something like the Gardens, something like the Night Market. I think that Lijiang is definitely diverse.
Yes.
But it doesn't take away from at least what RE is wanting to do. We don't know a lot about rebrand in progress, but, there's still some options for everyone here.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Control Center, I talked about it already. I love Junkrat. I'll probably say that 1,000 more times before we are done. But Control Center brings Junkrat to fruition. I always say that is a stage built for a Junkrat player. So I think if that comes out early, like you said, PvP, it'll be their time to shine. But if we get perhaps Gardens, Junkrat is a little bit less viable there, as there's not really those tight corridors to force your opponents in and find those cheeky kills with that splash damage those grenades represent.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look at the rest of the way that RE is trying to pack their back line. You've got Abs, who's very, very commonly found on something like a Baptiste. You now start throwing damage the other way, hold your own position, get I'm Special on a Zarya or a Roadhog that they're very well known for. You now put that damage or that pick potential going the other way, or that sustain when you've got the Zarya to just brawl it out and keep your own position. They can't run at you. They can't stand their ground. They can't get rid of the immortality field. Where does your real disruption come from if you're the side of Rebrand and Progress?
Right, absolutely. They're going to have to be looking for disruptions here to keep these teams. I mean, it's going to be all about momentum. I think I mentioned that a little bit already. And to find that momentum early, you need to get somebody with these early kills. A Genji might be the first to get a kill, but is just as likely, if not more, to be the first one to fall. So that is certainly something they're going to have to keep an eye on, is keeping that DPS line alive. Oh yeah, they bring in a powerhouse that is Necros, and they're really going to have to see what Necros can bring to the table in order to help this team succeed. You've made it this far already. Let's see how much further you can take it.
Yeah, exactly. And let's be fair. Arya is coming with certain strategies, with the Junkrat, with the Genji, but Rebrand and Progress is a very experienced team.
Absolutely.
They have played in both of the seasons of Contenders this year. They've played in both of the trials this year. They're coming through here having awareness of exactly what the maps are going to entail for very high level teams, what the typical strats are going to be, maybe adapting on the fly. These guys have a long history behind them. You can't just now come in and go, oh, on paper, this one strategy is pretty good. It might not be enough on the match day.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something they're going to have to keep an eye out on, is that difference between, you know, how well it works on paper and how well it's really going to work here in the flesh. We're going to have to look and see what these teams bring to the table. Instead, it's going to be Night Market. So we touched down on the other two. Of course, it'll be the one we did not mention. Jumping in here, the Agent Select will come to our very eyes. And of course, Necros on that Genji.
All right, Necros, and we do see Kaiser actually coming out for this matchup, going to be coming in on the Sombra, very proficient player, so maybe subbing out PvPX at least on this first control point map. Chasm going to be taking up that ball, and I'm Special again. We talked about I'm Special wanting to be on that ball. I'm not 100% convinced about the synergy between I'm Special and Chasm, and you know, Necros going to have to look to put pressure in from the side. Kaiser just going to swap onto the Sombra probably after the teleporter coming out there, and on the other side, it's going to be a very mobile lineup when you start looking at the side of sorry, at least Rebrand and Progress.
Yeah, they've got a very mobile comp indeed. I mean, they've got the Wrecking Ball and the Echo, the Tracer as well. It's going to be Abs with that first blood, taking Kathy right offline to the Tracer and immediately gone so much damage down the drain. Luckily enough, Eli can find a little bit of damage consistency there, finding one kill to turn things around. Could really help this fight. Instead, Kathy goes all the way through with that spawn. No resurrection in sight from Sobek here. The point opens up and immediately the hack on a Pure Irish. Looks like the mech will still be held onto thanks to an amazing immortality field from Andre there. And it looks like they're going to get the Mega as well. But here comes a little bit of damage with some rockets to boot. Pure Irish trying to 3v1 instead it's Necros with that first blood of the secondary fight here. Finding Eli, that Echo down the drain. Sobek not far behind. It's going to be a 4v6 here in favor of, oh yeah, I'm Special. Finds Pure Irish clean out of that mech, and there is not much Rebrand and Progress can do to turn this one around.
Yeah, pretty much had that from the beginning. Abs being able to get that hit onto, I think it was Caffey there, managing to take out the Trace at the beginning of the fight. And then they never wasted too many resources. They managed to force out the immortality field by chewing down the mech and getting the hack up. They just throw enough in, bait out the Rebrand usage, their resources, and then go in afterwards. Nice patient play so far.
A lot of patience. I think that's a really good word. We're seeing some patient gameplay coming out from the side of Oh Yeah, but now they decided to turn the tables a little bit. A 4-man EMP coming out from Kaiser early on in the fight. Only 40% online, and the team just ripped to absolute shreds. Blur will pick up Necros, but you're going to need a couple more kills to really make that one worth it. Coming through, finding some great value. Half of the point already captured in favor of Oh Yeah. Rebrand and Progress, I feel they're really struggling to even find a good way to engage without losing one or two people early.
Yeah, and look at that. They're having to adapt. They're trying to now swap up their team comps. Eli going to go onto the Sombra. But Arcades has already got out an EMP, and now we got 4-5 ultimates up for Oh Yeah. They just need to cycle these for the rest of the game, and here we go with the Dragon Blade.
Oh no! The Nano Blade coming out in the back line here. Immediately Sobek taken offline. Might find a kill, will find a kill onto that Winston, but only 2 kills for 2 ults. Not necessarily the greatest at any other time, but the fact you've already almost pushed this into last fight scenario, you've ticked it up over 80% here in just a moment, and Necros finding a 3rd kill onto Pure Irish with the help of Chasm on the Wrecking Ball. Rebrand and Progress, they've got 1, maybe 2 ultimates available, but they are running out of time to use them.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? Chasm's now going to just control up the space, trying to figure out where they're going to come out from, drop the mines on top of them, stop them going out anywhere, and we see the hack comes out. Abs has got the Transcendence to keep them alive, and the Graviton Surge is going to start us off.
Yeah, the Graviton Surge is going to be a great ultimate, able to find 2 eliminations, one of them being the Lucio, so unfortunately that is not going to give any kind of healing in favor of Rebrand in progress. Instead of Minefield from Chasm pushes them right off. Pure Irish losing that mech early again. The Pulse Bomb from Cappy might be able to find the kill on the I'm Special, but no, the blink into the mine. Talk about unfortunate. Kaiser will find Andraco and Sobek not far behind. Eli panic swapping out of the Doomfist, slams himself right into that mine, and blink and you miss it, folks. Lijiang Tower Night Market already coming to a close 100-0.
I mean, Necros actually used the Dragon Blade again in that fight. That was 2 fights that he took to get there, and that's the beauty of being able to cycle it with something like a Graviton Surge. You use the Nano Blade in the first fight, then you get your ultimate back up, clean it up in the third, and unfortunately, I had to giggle a little bit. Caffey did really well to actually chase down I'm Special on the Zarya, pin him in the corner, get the kill, and then without even looking... You're in a Hammond mine. That's just unfortunate, but Rebrand in progress didn't really look like they ever had a chance to come back into that fight.
I agree. They lost their footing early on. Caffey fell to just a phenomenal ult fire out of the side of Abs there, who was on the Zenyatta at the time, but if you are Rebrand in progress, if you are RIP, you've just got to look at this as a GG go next. You cannot go into this boomed. That was the first stage of what is a minimum of 3 maps. They've just got to bring this to the table, start it clean slate, and try to win Lijiang Tower Gardens.
Yeah, and they've managed to now at least secure their lineup from the beginning. We're going to see Sobek going down at the beginning. I'm Special wanting to work with Chasm there to just get in and disrupt this backline from Rebrand in progress.
Yeah, and Eli was able to find something there, but Necros immediately going to counter it out. Picks up Pure Irish. Blur gone as well. The tank line on the side of RIP just down the drain. Necros going around the long side here, trying to catch out a little bit of damage in this mini room, excuse me. Necros does pick up Sobek, the support line down the drain, taken offline, and looks like things are just not working out here for RIP once again.
Yeah, and you can see Cafe doing a good job of threatening I'm Special, but when you got Necros right behind you, constantly, wherever this Trace is trying to poke out, is being met with too much resistance, not really being able to get in there, builds up a nice Pulse Bomb for the beginning of this fight, and they may need to use that to be able to pick something off. Kaiser very far behind that EMP charge, actually.
Yeah, the Pulse Bomb would be a great opportunity to use it if you're able to find one of the supports, but instead it's Kaiser who's the first to go down. Blur will be traded out by Necros there, and it looks like it's going to be that 4v4. Eli finds one, Pure Irish finds another, and this is the closest RIP has been to flipping a point in their favor in a long time, so we might be able to see some action. Pure Irish picking up a double kill, might be able to find a triple onto a very low health Zarya with no bubbles, and Pure Irish finds the melee kill onto I'm Special, and it looks like we just might get to see Rebrand in progress cap a point for the first time today.
And that was the wasted ultimate coming out from I'm Special. Graviton Surge being thrown there very late into the fight meant that they were basically the only one left and dwindling HP. Now we see Eli going to be popping that big EMP, but is there damage to follow up?
No, that EMP was risky. I think it was a little too early. There was nobody around the corner. That's the reason I yelled, "Oh wow," because I thought there was a couple more seconds before that was coming to the table, but instead they committed early. They get absolutely no value out of it, and that's going to be rough here, especially as I'm Special picks up an elimination onto Pure Irish. The Blade going to be able to pick up Andre out of that Coalescence as well. Oh yeah, they are already on the cleanup crew.
Yeah, the cleanup is now 100% there, and it was quite an expensive fight. Necros, Chasm, Cool Boy all dropping their ultimates, but we've still got enough left from we've got the EMP, which is a fight-winning ultimate on its own, and you've got the Rayleigh, probably the strongest support ultimate in the game. And if you look on the other side, we got 2 tank ults. We're not expecting a big play from Pure Irish unless you're getting some massive Diva self-destruct. And Blur, are you what, knocking everyone around while they're tranced?
Oh, there's that EMP, and I don't know about you all, but I personally believe EMP is the strongest ultimate in the game. It is the fight-winning ultimate that you need every time you need it, and Kaiser was able to find an elimination early, but that bomb might actually get an elimination there. Yeah, onto I'm Special, so that is able to even things out just long enough for Necros to find that kill on the Eli. Pure Irish putting away a 3K. Again, the second fight in a row we're going to be seeing that happen. Instead, this time, looks like Rebrand in progress might actually be able to turn this back around in their favor.
Okay, I thought it was going to be something special that had to come out from Pure Irish there. I mean, they didn't even drop the Primal Rage, and still Pure Irish managing to do that. And again, I think it came down to Kaiser maybe being a little bit preemptive on that EMP. I'm Special being caught out. They kind of didn't really have an opportunity to go on them. Cappy finding Abs, though.
And Draco is going to be able to pick up I'm Special as well, so immediately, oh yeah, they don't get this fight. They lost a support and a tank. They just have to peel back, wait for the regroup, and push in once again. That is definitely unfortunate, especially with that grab online, but luckily enough, you didn't use it. You still have it available. You're going to have a Nano Blade to boot. I mean, those 3 ultimates together are deadly to the highest degree of the word. I mean, if you land those 3, nobody's surviving a combination like that.
Eli.
Kaiser are able to find one. They're able to be taken offline by Andraco there. Necros picks up something. I'm Special. Ult fires off the map. I think got caught out by Blur just a little bit there, but didn't get the kill credit due to the ultimate fire on the side of the stage. And unfortunately, things are falling apart here on both sides. This has been a very cheeky fight as nobody's really been able to turn things around in their favor yet. Chasm finds one. Pure Irish ties it back around once again, but every second is crucial right now for Rebrand in Progress. If they lose this fight, there may not be time to recontest. They're really going to have to be careful here.
Well, they managed to get back onto the point. They're going to have to survive through the self-destruct. I'm Special, at least going to be able to pick up some charge from that. Going to drop down the Graviton Surge, and then comes Kaiser with that EMP, being able to at least get a couple of them. This is Rebrand in Progress, maybe giving it up at the last moment.
Yeah, that is absolutely going to be, I mean, just devastating there. I'm Special finds a triple kill, and all of a sudden there's not enough time in the world. You've got 15 seconds to get back to the point. They're going to swap to a couple of faster heroes, the Reaper as well, probably to teleport in the window, but we got to take another look at I'm Special here. I mean, just the grab into EMP and the absolute cleanup crew that is a high charge. Zarya, Caffey, and Blur immediately fall. Pure Irish just gets melted before they can even blink, and when you lose half your team, there's really not much you can do, especially if you are a lone Moira. We jump right back into the swing of things. 99 to 99. Caffey has that pulse bomb online, but this will have to be the pulse bomb of an absolute lifetime. It will be Necros, the first to fall. The Genji taken offline here, so immediately no blade inside of the pulse. It's a stick! No, it's not going to be able to get rid of the Brigitte quite yet. Instead, Chasm and I'm Special will fall down. Blur does get eliminated, but the numbers are so aggressively in favor of Rebrand in Progress. They may actually be able to take this one away. They may have guaranteed us a control center.
Man, Rebrand in Progress. Okay, so this actually went the way of Rebrand in Progress about 3 fights back. Where Arya was trying to get back onto the point the first time, they ran into Eli's EMP and then still tried to pull out the Nano Blade. Why? At that stage, yes, it was your Genji who was having a little bit of space and didn't get caught by the EMP, but you are now trying to rely 100% on Necros to clean up their entire team, while your team is kind of having to stall back a little bit. You don't have the support there, the synergy, and then they come back. They've now wasted their big ults. They could have waited out. They had the percentage time to be able to wait out that EMP and then maybe engage in the next fight. Instead, they didn't get their ultimate cycles. They didn't get them comboed together nicely. I'm Special close enough from that Graviton Surge that they could have even thrown that in if the fight was going badly. Oh yeah, had that from the beginning. They were playing slightly better, but I feel like their ult usage in this fight has not been as clean as it is. It means that we're down to our last match.
You know, we're seeing a couple of swaps here. Blur on the Reinhardt, the first we've seen, the first Mei and McCree as well. All of those on the side of Rebrand in Progress. We talked about one-trick ponies a little bit earlier. Oh yeah, definitely sticking to that rhythm. We see a couple of swaps, Abs back on the Zenyatta, but other than that, no real surprises coming out. Instead, they're going up against half of a brand new team comp, and Sobek almost immediately taken offline, but instead Necros, thanks to this primary fire of Pure Irish, will fall early on, and that's going to guarantee a first point cap for RIP. And you know that there's that weird statistic, first team to cap is usually the first team to win the point.
Oh yeah, Rebrand in Progress is going to feel very comfortable around this right now, and I love this pick onto Caffey's McCree there, seeing up to 80% now. You threaten the Genji at range, you stop the Genji coming in. Eli is going to be able to create some space between it, and so far going all the way of Rebrand.
Yeah, Blur, however, that was a cheeky left shift and certainly did not pay off. Oh yeah, getting the opportunity to turn things around. The Baptiste will fall as well. Caffey taken offline, but the McCree will have high noon for the next fight. They may not be ready for that, as that was farmed very quickly. It's going to be a lot of action coming out here. Eli gets the freeze out of the Wrecking Ball, but one Mei can only do so much against 4 opponents. 37% will be flipped over in favor of Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, closed the distance very nicely. They've now got an EMP for this next fight. They're nearly up to a Nano Blade for the next fight. They've even got the mines, they've got Transcendence, they've got everything that they could want on it. They just need to now be careful and cautious about how they roll these things out. Don't dump everything into one fight. You've got enough skills to win the rest of it.
Yeah, we saw that last stage. You hit the nail right in the head. We saw an overcommittal of ultimates. Now we've already seen 2. Hopefully we don't see any more, but as I say it, Necro's probably going to pull this blade in a desperate attempt to stay alive. Instead, chooses to hold a great ult control there, great ult discipline. Blur will pick up I'm Special, but the damage may have already been done. The Tiva, I think, fell off the map there. Pure Irish going for that tactical reset. Now we are going to see Oh yeah take the lead here in terms of percent in stage 3.
I like what you said, that they had to hold it, they had to be disciplined about it. Necro was waiting for that Dragon Blade. We even saw Special dying on the front line. We've now still got 4 up online for, yeah, that's 2 team fights easily if they pull them out at the right stage. And still, Rebrand has to come out with something. They got the Blizzard at least online to work with.
Yeah, the Blizzard, a great ultimate. They've just got to keep an eye that they landed in the proper position. Zarya Bubbles can get people out of there, as Zenyatta Transcendence will be able to keep the team alive. But High Noon, oh, instead, no, it's the sleep. Necros in the same blink of an eye, finding 2 eliminations, turns into 3 there. Half a team Blade coming out. Cappy picks up 1, but will be dismissed by Necros. And Pure Irish once again forced into that tactical reset. We are only 10% away from, oh yeah, bringing this into last fight scenario.
Oh, that was such a beautiful play. Being able to throw out the Nano Blues, then turn around, get that sleep on the High Noon at the exact same time. That was 100% the Cool Boy show, and doing it with ease. Love it.
Yeah, Cool Boy just making an absolute name here at Contenders Trials. The Sleep and Nano Blade combo, not something you see often, but it definitely worked out in favor of, oh yeah, they are only 8% away from turning this fight around. Sobek, though, with that first elimination, will be able to pick up the Wrecking Ball. I'm Special not far behind. Transcendence has to be used in order to keep the 4 remaining players alive, but it may already be too late. Necros picks up a Moira, but Sobek finding Cool Boy. As long as they stay on the point, they've got plenty of time to swap it back, but if they lose it even once, they will have to kiss Lijiang Tower goodbye.
Yeah, Blur now going down low, and while, oh yeah, could actually reset for this fight, they don't want to give this up. They think that this is a winnable fight. Be able to drop that EMP on there, that is huge to be able to turn around, and it looks like, oh yeah, actually going to be able to flip it over, pulls down that overtime, and Andreko trying valiantly, but not going to be able to hold it for long enough, I think.
Yeah, I adore that EMP. Very high risk, incredibly high reward. High reward enough to where, oh yeah, may have turned this around before even 5% was able to be given to Rebrand in progress here. I mean, it was cheeky, it was dangerous, but it worked out so well. Now Necros has that blade as well and might get killed with his Diva Bomb if he's not careful, but no, will be able to hide on the side of the pillar, but dashes right up into the Diva mech coming out of the sky there. Pure Irish will not get back into the mech. Instead, things will be closed up. A great eat on a pulse bomb from the Diva there. Oh yeah, puts Lijiang Tower away 2-1.
To be fair to Pure Irish, did actually get the remake kill on Necros there. Necros had the Dragon Blade at the end, but didn't get to use it, didn't need it, thankfully. Like you say, all set up from that EMP we see here, just pulling out this Dragon Blade. This was the one being able to cut through the back line that we saw, combined with the sleep that was off screen there, being able to shut down Cafe. But a great play from yeah, just being a little bit more disciplined in their playthrough in the third round. I think that's going to be the level of the Overwatch we're going to get to see from them. Still going back and forth between both teams.
Yes.
And Rebrand looking like they've got a chance, but has more work to do after giving up the first map.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm glad to see that this has been a competitive matchup, especially after the first stage was a 100-0. I was a little bit worried in favor of RIP, but we see that things are really coming to fruition. They're getting a little bit warmed up, and control points, control maps are, of course, very unique in the sense of no other Overwatch map style is really like it. It is a very unique individual map style where we see a lot of overlap in the other ones, like Hybrid is, of course, like 2CP and Payload, so on and so forth, but I love control points. I hope to see more. Maybe we push all the way into those extra maps, but honestly, I don't even know what the next map is going to be. Do you think you have any kind of guesses on what might be chosen here?
Oh, I mean, it's Hybrid, right?
I believe so.
Hybrid. We saw Numbani yesterday. That's a decent map, especially if you're running something like a Genji, being able to get up and down. Chasm's going to be happy with the Wrecking Ball. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Numbani would be my favorite one to see. It's personally one of my favorite maps, but not a very common one. Something like Hollywood, definitely the more common map, definitely a good map that I think both these teams will feel comfortable on. And so that would be one of my 2 top guesses, either Hollywood or Numbani.
I think those are both very solid guesses. I have to agree with Hollywood. I would like to see Numbani because I think that would call a lot of great plays. But like you said, that's a good Genji map. And the team with the Genji is not the team, I believe, that gets to choose the next map. So we may not see Numbani. I feel like King's Row might be possible. That may be something we see coming out here because Genji might not be able to get as much ground or as much footing as time and time again a Reinhardt will just get to come through and get hyper aggressive and swing left, right, and center. Like I always say, King's Row, a map built for a Reinhardt. And if a Genji has nowhere to run, Reinhardt wins that matchup, so we'll have to see how that turns out, or really what map was brought to the table next.
I think Rebrand in Progress would actually be very comfortable on Kings Row. I didn't bring it up simply because we see it all the time.
All the time,
and
right?
I like to dream, okay? I'm a dreamer. I want to see other maps, other strategies and stuff. I don't want to just see the Reinhardt, Zarya, Wrecking Ball, or Death Ball, rather, walk on to the point. We're going to see a Mei on the other side. Who's going to get up the better wall? That team wins. Baptiste Immortality. It's a boring show. Let's see what Necros can do. Let's give them some space and some verticality. Please, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. Kings Row is a map that certainly, and maybe not the players, but us casters have undoubtedly kind of figured out the momentum, figured out the rhythm of what comes out of Kings Row. So we definitely wouldn't be surprised there. But I did like what you mentioned of, Hollywood being a map that we really could see. Numbani could call for some kind of dive, some kind of aggression. Hollywood as well. We could see the Pharah we talked about a little bit earlier. Maybe that some more Echo gameplay we saw a little bit of. So honestly, the thing I'm confident in saying is no matter what map we get, I'm positive it's going to be a good one because these teams have been neck and neck. They have just been absolutely terrorizing one another here to stay alive. And look at that, your first guess was the right one, my friend. It is Numbani.
Oh, Numbani is exciting for me for one reason. The first point is so different to the rest of the first points in most of these things. It has this very dominating kill box potential in this high ground surrounding the first point. It means that pathing options become so important. If you choose to run down main and they just set and rain damage down upon you, you're going to be in trouble. If you don't get onto the payload or at least onto the point and clear out that threat, if you just try and rush point, you're going to die. If you try to go through a choke, that little side room with the big health pack, if you go in there and they spot you out and start throwing damage in there and you can't get out of there, you die.
Yeah.
There are so many important decisions that come out, not just in your team comps, but how you play the specific map and then how you snowball it from there. I love it. Absolutely so excited to see what these guys can do on Numbani.
Absolutely. Numbani is especially a unique hybrid map in the style of, with Hollywood and Kings Row, there's pretty scripted patterns that teams tend to follow, where Numbani, there's like 7 different ways to engage the first point, right? I think you said that great. There's so many great opportunities to approach. Like you said, the small room with the Mega, you can go up on the high ground, you can rotate all the way around the back, up and through onto the opposing high ground, so on and so forth. There are 100 ways to engage. We can only hypothesize what these teams are going to bring to the table. Another thing I love about this map is we often see Symmetra played here, and as much as people hate playing against Symmetra, myself included, I love to watch a good Symmetra player. So hopefully we get to see one of those here. We're going to be jumping into Numbani in just a sec. So talking about possibly seeing Symmetra, do you think there's any team comps these teams are a little more likely to bring to the table?
I mean, when it comes to, I don't think we're going to stray too far from the beaten track. Let's be completely fair. I like how you say you hate Symmetra, but you love Junkrat. It's just because you can't hit the turrets, isn't it? Like, I can believe that's...
you can't prove that. You can't prove that. I can hit him just fine.
As far as Rebrand in Progress goes, we have seen a little bit of swapping up. We've seen the McCree come out, and it actually got a lot of work from Cafe, being able to just put a lot of pressure on Necros, on that Genji. Cool Boy, we've seen, tends to favor either the Ana or the Lucio, and it depends on how really want to run it. I think that they're going to stay instead with just the Ana, be able to get in that long-range heals. Going to be locking it in straight away. And if Rebrand in Progress actually locks into what they're running now, I don't know how I feel about an Orisa on attack pushing forwards.
It's weird, especially without a Lucio.
I doubt they're going to stick to this. On the other side, hey, congratulations. Exactly the same thing. But it's not a bad thing. As much as I'm giving them grief about it, I'm okay with this. They understand what the game plan is. Kaze is building up the ultimates very consistently, getting a lot of value. I'm Special, putting on a lot of pressure on the front line, actually playing almost a main tank role with Chasm rolling around the back line.
Right.
Abs is getting the damage going in. Playing this very well, and Rebrand in Progress is in fact going to walk out with the Orisa, no Lucio, instead Sobek going to be taking on that Brigida, and it's going to be a slow march towards the finale.
Yeah, we definitely talked about the beauty of Numbani on how you can really make some unique choices, but I don't think we meant this unique. The Orisa with the Soldier without a Lucio, I mean, there's so much to take into consideration here for RIP, but perhaps a weird comp like this might be the one that, maybe it won't be, actually, as Kaiser takes Cappy offline immediately, just like Lijiang Tower. Cappy is on the wrong side of that first blood, and now RIP, they've got to clean up for the lackluster ability of the Soldier so far.
The problem about this double shield, this especially a Risa-based comp, is that you're expecting to be able to mitigate all the damage with your shield. You're not supposed to do any other work really besides it, otherwise you're not playing it right. With Kaiser on that Sombra, with Necros being able to dash through and get work, Chasm being able to hit work, hit these big rollouts. I mean, what are your shields doing against these three characters, let alone the rest of the team? Ooh, a lot in this fight though.
Yeah, the Sigma maybe playing that slow burn game may have finally broken through, able to find Necros, but gets hacked out at 125. Immortality Field has to be committed to keep that Sigma up. Eli now in the back line, putting some pressure down, but I'm special. Picks up Blur there with that first elimination. Unfortunately, Caffey, I'm not even going to ask what happened. I'm just going to keep going here. That is definitely an unfortunate way. That's 2 times in a row Caffey falls early in a fight. Pure Irish not far behind, unfortunately. We're almost halfway through the time bank already, and they've barely even touched the point.
And there, Arya plays patiently. It's one of the best things about their gameplay is, yes, you know exactly what they're going to do, but you don't know when they're going to do it. They're able to pull back. They lose one at the beginning. Necros still gets back into this fight and builds up nearly 90% towards that ultimate. And Kaiser's sitting with his ultimate now, his EMP. Rebrand in Progress has taken a long time to get to the point, so they got very few attempts at it. And now they're going to go into probably the most dangerous attempt that they've got.
Yeah, this is, I can't get over the fact that we're still hanging out on the Orisa here with a Brig Bat behind us, and Necros definitely saw that opportunity, able to find a triple kill in the small room here. Absolutely nowhere to run. He doesn't even have to move. He just has to hit primary fire a couple of times and rips half a team to shreds. Now, a pulse bomb is pretty much the only thing RIP has to their name. This is going to be almost impossible to break through a team like, oh yeah.
4 ultimates still on the side. We use the Nano Blade, the perfect single combo that you need. Everyone else has this. Abs has got the Transcendence, so Caffey, get up your tactical visor. No one's going to be hit by it, or at least no one's going to die from it, theoretically. K's are going to be able to start us off, and Eli going to find out this Translocator, at least at the beginning of the fight. This could be a good way to start, and going to be able to find Special on the back line. It's, oh yeah, under trouble. Never mind.
Yeah, great turnaround there. Cool Boy is going to fall, though. So 2-for-2 trade. Caffey picks up one more. The pulse bomb misses. Unfortunately, Abs will stay alive. Caffey pops the visor, able to find that wrecking ball. First time in a long time once again that RIP has found their footing. Might be able to turn this fight in their favor. They find 1 tick. They've got to find 2 more, but there is more than enough time for a recontest from All Yeah.
And they're going to be running in with this Transcendence, and they've got Special to start cleaning it up. So as long as there's no real danger, Chasm going to be able to stall it out forever, and the Transcendence is on the point.
Yeah, Abs has to use it. The Baptiste will be lost on the side of RIP. Necros picking up 1. Abs finding another. The Zenyatta diff coming through here, able to find 2 eliminations, a third of the team down to a support. Chasm picks up Sobek immediately afterward here. Blur has the supercharger, but there's really not much you can do. Only 20 seconds left. Blur taken offline by Kazzer with the help of the rest of the team. 14 seconds remain. 2.5 ticks received, but I do not think we're going to be seeing that 3rd tick here.
Nah, that was huge. Special pulled that Graviton onto the high ground, just pulled everyone on the top down, pulled everyone from the bottom up, and holds them all in place, manages to get that crack through the center. Kaiser now going to be taking out Sobek at the beginning of the fight, and it's stopping the D.Va from even getting to the points here. Desperate attempt so far from Rebrand in Progress, but they're fighting into a diminishing amount of resources.
Okay, someone is going to touch. I got a little nervous there from the side of, oh yeah, I thought maybe they got a little bit too comfortable. We see 2 eliminations in their favor, but a great sleep again. Cool Boy's Ana is just absolutely disgusting with these sleeps that we have seen so far. Just so well timed, some great progress coming through, and we talked about being desperate to turn this around. RIP, they might be able to do it if they can get rid of one of these tanks quickly, but no, Pure Irish will fall. I believe it's just Caffey left alive. The Tracer not far. They're booped off the point due to both the tanks, and 97.1%. We are going to need a full hold if they want to tie things up 1-1.
You know, something I've got to give credit to Rebrand for is their scrappy fights actually look pretty good. They did pretty well on control points where it was pretty much all scrappy fights. They're able to set up when they're in a good position, you know, use Eli's big EMP at the beginning or something like that. All of those look really good. But in terms of structured plays, they don't seem to be able to break. Oh, yeah, they don't seem to be able to close the distance. They don't seem to be able to get people in behind. And while they get maybe 1 pick at the beginning, they've kind of tunnel vision in on that 1 pick. And as soon as Special, for example, goes down, suddenly they've lost 2 on their backline because Kaiser's now, or Kaiser or Necros or someone, is busy tearing through it and ignoring their focused attempt with 4 players. They're going for the other 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to talk any more about the Orisa. I feel like we've talked about that a lot, but I just have to bring it up one more time. A very uncomfortable pick, one that really did not fit well. So not only taking the risk of choosing Orisa, but you chose a soldier at the same time. Two heroes very much considered to possibly not be in the meta, so to speak. So I really think that just the comp choice really hurt RIP there in that attack.
Yeah. Both of those heroes rely on having good positioning and being able to shoot at your opponents, being able to control the position. You know, you got your biotic grenade, you've got the good shield, but how do you walk forwards into a dangerous position like that when your opponents have such control, such ability to flex around, such ability to move? You don't really have a place to stand and shoot from. You're hoping you run something like that when they're coming towards you. It doesn't work on the attack, and now we're going to see a much more mobile composition coming out from Rebrand and Progress for this defense.
Yeah, like you said, a much more mobile composition coming through. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left here, so plenty of time on the clock. But Chasm with a questionable left shift. They're going to be charging into the entirety of the enemy team. Eli gets slipped around the corner, but somehow, some way, Cool Boy lives just a little bit longer. Cappy will confirm that kill. Necros picks up Blur immediately after here. I'm Special has to be close to death, but Cappy not far either there, and just barely able to turn things around. Pure Irish is going to be able to confirm that kill onto that Zarya, and things are looking good here for the defensive side.
Much better right now. This is what we're wanting to see from Rebrand and Progress. They still have a lot of work to do. Let's be fair, it's basically a full hold that they need to work on here. Oh yeah, just kind of got caught out there. Again, like you said, that weird charge from Chasm now sitting very far behind. Necros building up very quickly towards that ultimate. And it might just be, oh yeah, being a patient play, seeing if they can get anything out of it now instead of rushing forwards and build up a couple of ults and then try to change something with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Patient play is definitely something we've seen in Chasm again with another questionable left shift. Maybe getting a little bit overconfident. Oh, we full held. We just have to cap the first point. But definitely the Reinhardt not working out great so far. 2 fights in, only at 40%. Dropping out of the Wrecking Ball. Necros commits a blade, but there is just nobody in sight. The bomb goes off below. Might be able to find the Lucio. Picks up one, so a 2-for-1 trade here in favor of, oh yeah, it depends on which one of the DPS wins this fight, on where this fight really can take these teams. Oh wow, the solo EMP onto Draco, who picks up 2 eliminations anyway, just dodging around the Wrecking Ball, staying alive, and Chasm has to get out of the fight. The Moira lives another day.
That was a rush team fight. That was an unnecessarily impatient play coming out from, oh yeah, they dropped the Nano Blade and the EMP into half fights. They've lost 2 and then they pull out the Nano Blade. Then Kaiser's basically solo fighting, goes down almost instantly. Chasm has to now fight out a Moira, which is a hard fight in the first place. I mean, that was fight-winning ultimates that they threw into that for no reason, and now dropping a chance to try and salvage what's left of this fight. Yeah,
again, I mean, this is a half-baked ultimate. They come through, they use Transcendence early on. Cappy just follows Abs into the back line and rips him to absolute shreds. 90 seconds left on the clock here, and all of a sudden, I mean, I was confident all yeah was going to come in and clean sweep this Numbani map here, but there is a world where we walk away from this in a 1-1 matchup.
I cannot believe that, considering now I'm Special going to have to pull out something. We have seen it before, being able to pull out that Zarya Graviton Surge, but you got a lot of mobility to try and lock down in the same place. Good luck timing that one correctly. And hopefully you don't lose too many people when you get it out. With
the double EMP. Speaking of losing people, Kaiser will fall to Pure Irish early, so that EMP immediately worth it. Might be able to keep this fight alive for him.
Yeah, and they just now go back, as every second that ticks down now for Rebrand and Progress is good for them, and they're going to be able to take out Necros at the beginning of this fight. They're not going to be able to get up to that Dragon Blade in the next fight, and I'm Special, please don't drop this Graviton Surge now.
That's not even a caster curse. You were begging him not to, but unfortunately, I'm Special commits the grab. No blade in sight here. Blur has fallen. Chasm commits a bomb on point, and Draco finds one. Pure Irish falls out of the minefield here, so there is going to be that 1-for-1 trade. This is the closest that has had the opportunity to come through and win a map, win Numbani, but they might not be able to find it. They're going to lose Cappy early on, so another extra mine from Chasm, making all the difference. The Wrecking Ball swap, maybe the very reason that we see walk away victorious. The Nano onto the blade, and Necros gets this blade at the best possible time. One tick may come through, but I think playing it slow is the name of the game here for Rebrand and Progress.
Even that blade, who were you killing? There was no one left on point. All you had to do was throw a couple of people on there, but they are starting to get up here. They've managed to get the EMP onto Blur and Eli. Blur going to go down, not going to be able to get off that Primal Rage, and it is, managing to actually get some kills together.
Now that, my friends, is what I call the Overwatch factor. That's a phrase that I made up that is basically just a team remembering how to play Overwatch in the final seconds of the game, because that is exactly what just happened to Aw Yeah. They were seconds away from a loss. All of a sudden, they remember what they're doing. They find the eliminations necessary, and Aw Yeah walks away from Numbani victorious, putting them up 2-0 in a first to 3 series.
That reminded me of pubs that have made me just stop playing for a night for a while, where you're going, guys, we've got everything we need to be able to win this. Let's just come to... Why did you use that? Bro, no one, I was in... But yet, still, somehow we see Aw Yeah finally managing to regather themselves at the end of it, pull together some ultimates, you know, really somehow synergize the grasp of the EMP, the Nano Blade at the very end of it, pull through, and it comes down to the fact that their defense was so good that give them even a sliver of a chance there. I'm glad they didn't have to push the whole Streets phase, but they managed to do it, taking the 2-0. Rebrand in trouble now.
Yeah, Rebrand, I mean, they are at the end of their rope, and I believe we're going to be throwing into a short break, so they're going to get just a little bit of time to discuss and kind of discuss team comps moving forward to see what they can bring to the table in Map 3. We will also find out what Map 3 is when we get back. Don't go far. Plenty of Contenders trials left for today. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for more Overwatch Contenders Trials 2021. I am Severance, joined by the great and wonderful Ultruism to bring you the third of what could possibly be the final map of the first series here today.
I'm excited to see how this is, and we're going to Havana. This is where actually really likes it. If you guys have ever followed you might recognize them more as O2 Esports or the old Voided roster. They have been around for a while, and I would like to see. It doesn't look like they're going to be bringing PvP. This is the PvP map, man. This is where his Junkrat just starts to shine, but apparently not needed so far. Between Kaiser and Necros being able to hold that front line, that DPS lineup so strong there. Making some interesting choices at the end of Numbani there, but still
Certainly
looking like a solid team who understands what the point of their roster is supposed to do.
Yeah, that is. I shed a single tear for the fact we will probably not be seeing PvP here today. But say la vie, as they certainly, like you said, do not need him coming through. Very effective, very impressive so far. Very aggressive, just all the way around. Oh yeah, this has been a surprisingly close matchup both times. Numbani looked great at the beginning. They barely scraped the win out from underneath. Same thing with Lijiang. They win the first stage 100-0. The later we get into the game, things looking a little bit sloppier, a little bit slower. But we're gonna have to see. This is the final hour. This is the now or never moment for Rebrand in Progress if they want to keep this series alive.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see how they approach this. They've tried so many variations. I haven't really got a flavor for what the team is going to be doing. We look at them brawling it out with the Reinhardts and the McCrees and even the Maze coming in there in the control points. And then you go to the Soldiers and the Orisas, throwing in a random Tracer swapping to Sombra pretty much randomly, but I haven't really felt what the team is trying to do as a synergistic unit. Now they have one payload. They all got to get around it. They've got to win out the fights often enough that they can keep it rolling. They maybe have some more time to bait out ultimates or something like that, but I would definitely like to see them focus on how do we get the payload from the start to the first point. That's it. Let's just focus on that for now. They can do that, then we can play the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see Havana for two reasons. One of them, we're going to get to see the Havana whole teams going up close and personal, just slamming into the spawn door, stalling for as long as possible, rather. That is my personal favorite thing about the map, is people just being absolutely insane with it. And of course, I'm excited because this is the first time we get to see a payload. Numbani was just the first point, so we actually get to see a payload. We're going to see a little bit of movement here, and of course, that calls for different comps and play styles, as you're not just sitting still defending or pushing into the same point over and over. The atmosphere, the area around you is constantly shifting. So these teams, payload maps are all about adaptation.
I can't believe you had to point that out for me to realize that. I did not realize we have not seen a payload yet. It's something you just take for granted most of the time. Now we're going to be able to see it. And one of the reasons I like Havana is Bastion is not unheard of.
Yeah,
at this point, in the first point. And I would love to see, when it comes to, they've shown versatility, creativity, ingenuity, or however else you want to phrase being able to throw Bastion into a front line and actually make it work in it. We've seen Sombra Bastion TPs. It looks like they're sticking up for quite a solid defense, a double main tank with Chasm on the Orisa and I'm Special on the Reinhardt.
Yeah, they've got to be going for the Havana hold here. That's the only thing that makes sense with a team comp like this. The Lucio to speed in, the Mei to separate the team when they walk out of spawn. Yep, okay, so there it is. This is all I wanted. I'm a simple man, and I'm very excited to see how successful this is going to be. Even if you lose the first fight, you've still stalled long enough. You've still stalled any amount of time off the clock, and that's what payload maps are all about.
All right, let's see how Rebrand wants to take a fight to them. Very similar comp going to be coming out here.
Now, I'm looking a lot to see the Diva versus the Orisa here. I feel like that's really where the difference is going to be made, because the Diva can eat so many projectiles, so much damage, and Cappy just around the shield. Oh, Chasm the first to fall. The Orisa gone. The Rhine not far behind. The double main tank down the drain here. A very unsuccessful Havana hold on the side of, RIP. Now, this is exactly what they wanted. They confirmed the kill on Necros, and this card is going to be moving uncontested for about 10 to 12 seconds.
Yeah, that was big, and it all came down to Eli being able to get up that first wall, manage to separate off Chasm on the Reinhardt, and then they could start walking around. And you talked about Cafe managing to get around the side of Chasm on the Orisa. It was because they just started to dictate their place of the game. They set up that first thing, cut it off, and it seemed like was scrabbling to just try and recoup some of the losses at the beginning. Now Rebrand's got some momentum. They're going to be rushing forward, and they're looking strong so far, but it is still the first point.
Yeah, and we've got to talk about the fact that even if they lost the fight, Necros is already 90% to having that Nano Blade online. Or just the Blade part, actually. No Nano in sight. But the Blade's still a very effective ultimate, still a very strong one to engage a fight, make some room. But speaking of ultimates used to make room, here comes that garage door being opened wide up from Andraco here. Amplification Matrix might be able to help them get around this first difficult corner. Necros in the back here gets booped up above, not able to find quite what he's looking for. The High Noon picks up 0 as well as that Diva Bomb. The Blizzard out from Kaiser, maybe the first successful ultimate, but instead also picks up Zio. No, excuse me, Eli will be able to survive just barely on the cart, and they are going to get closer and closer. Cappy here will pick up I'm Special, able to find that kill. Pure Irish losing the mech, so we're in kind of a 5-for-5 scenario. Chasm the next to fall thanks to Pure Irish. The biotic nade from Cool Boy, just big enough, to keep this team moving, forcing the entirety of RIP to step back just a little bit. Oh yeah, coming through, they cap that first point, 4.5 minutes remain.
Yeah, no, I like that actually. Rebrand did very well to push forward so quickly. They managed to use some ultimates to create some space. They managed to survive through Necros with just basically the Immortality field. That's how powerful that single ability is, to be able to come through and just focused on keeping that payload rolling. They managed to use Cafe's ultimate, that High Noon, to be able to create some space, and now they're starting to take control of this high ground.
Yeah, the high ground, of course. I mean, as simple as any first-person shooter is, the high ground is so wildly important. We've got to talk about as well Andraco with another amplification matrix. Literally just used one, 30 seconds ago, and already another one brought to the table here, creating more space for Rebrand and Progress. Chasm's Minefield coming out. Eli with the counter Blizzard here. Pretty intelligent to see coming through here, keeping the team off the cart, making a little bit of space. Might even be able to find a kill if they're lucky. Instead, I'm Special finds that kill onto Pure Irish. Andraco just getting ripped apart above the Immortality field there. Amplification Matrix coming out from Abs, the grab from I'm Special as well, and this is just going to be a roll for all. Yeah, however, they did need 3 ultimates to win that fight. They've got to be careful going into this next one.
I'm okay with this. I'm Special has been playing so well this Zarya. The tracking ability here just realizes there's no shields, there's no Immortality field, there's nothing to keep these squishies alive. And Draco, Cafe, and Sobek all going to fall down at the beginning. It forces Rebrand out of the doors at least, and now is a very difficult time to get back inside this brewery. Where do you come through without being choked out? And they've got the Nano Blade online. Oh yeah, looking quite comfortable here.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, looking incredibly comfortable moving into this fight, especially with, okay, there it is. I don't even get to say it before it comes to the table here, but instead a great wall from Eli's gonna pretty much, I mean, I'm gonna call that, what do you want to call it, a zoning blade? Just creating a little bit of space, getting some value off the back of it. Sobek will pick up Necros, so even less successful. The Genji doesn't even make it out alive. Instead, it's gonna be all about who finds that next kill.
Yeah, Okeza actually kind of shut down Necros there, putting up the wall in the choke and couldn't get back towards the team. And now, oh yeah, running for the hills. Rebrand just going to be able to push forward. They've got that zoning dead out if they need to. Blur also going to be coming on with that Earth Shatter, taking control of the high ground, going to be able to drop down on top of them, but needs to stay alive. Necros hunting for Blur right now, but gets taken out.
The headshot from Eli, talk about a stroke of good luck. Necros, I think, was gonna find that kill onto Blur, but instead he gets to live just a little bit longer. Kaiser almost finds the D-Mech on a Pure Irish, but has to commit out in an attempt to stay alive. Goes into that Cryo Freeze instead. The High Noon from the back line here, Cappy creating more space. I've got to say, this is the cleanest that Rebrand and Progress has looked every map we've seen so far. They've been close, but Rebrand and Progress, they have really found their footing here. They've really been able to turn things in their favor. Of course, as I say that, a little bit of a caster curse. They lose 3 in a row. They're not able to cap that second point, but they've got a little over 100 seconds to try again.
That was a very 50-50 fight that oh yeah managed to pull in their favor. They kind of split up and try to push from different angles, but they were patient enough with it that when the angle wasn't working perfectly, they didn't force it. Kaiser was on the low ground, just making sure the payload didn't walk forwards. Necro started going around the back line. Cool Boy put in shots from across the open space, and now we see them setting up on very nice high ground. We're nearly up to that Nano Blade again. I'm Special sitting just on the side of the Graviton Surge, but it's all going to be eyes on Blur. Can you get a decent Earth Shatter? Doesn't even need it at the beginning of this fight.
Oh, what was that? Minefield. Desperate. That now answer my own question. That Minefield was desperate. And unfortunately, no value off the back of it. Again, a phenomenal beat coming out from Sobek there, keeping the entirety of the team alive. What did I say earlier? Ryan and Genji in close quarters. Reinhardt wins that fight almost 100% of the time. We see Blur coming through, able to find that kill. The Shatter, the solo Shatter out of the Wrecking Ball, the first successful left shift here today. This looks like Rebrand in Progress opportunity to cap the second point and keep these wheels moving.
Okay, that was an interesting shadow. Obviously, just wanting to stop the stall capabilities of Chasm, but maybe using it a bit too early means that the rest of being able to come in. Necros picks up the double kill. Ab's gonna get the headshot on Cafe, and I'm Special cleans it up. So maybe a bit of an over-investment there just for a Wrecking Ball, perhaps.
Right. Yeah, perhaps they knew the swap was coming, right? Perhaps they were like, whatever, I'll just use my ult and swap next time I die. But now I think that Wrecking Ball might be more a bit of a desperation move. There's only 6 seconds left on the clock. Eli should have the, oh, what a wall, what a read. But no, Eli is going to be able to double blink around. It gets out of the point, however, has to recall immediately. Blur almost taken out, and the very same breath. Maybe a kill out of the May if you're lucky, but no, Cafe pulled it just a little bit too early there. Unfortunately, Kaiser will be able to find the kill onto Blur here, so this is looking like it is going to end in favor of They are setting their own win condition by being on the defense first. They'll know just how far they have to push this cart to succeed. Necros able to find 2, and a Mac turns into 3 there. I'm Special picks up Eli, and there is certainly nothing left to be done. Finds that successful hold just shy of the second point of Havana.
Okay. Rebrand looked comfortable. They looked really good. Right. They managed to get good progress through the first points. They didn't really get stalled out that much. Got the first point nicely. Then the second time came in. You worried about that triple ultimate investment from but the timing of it meant that they could at least stop the payload halfway, reset, rebrand in progress, cut that momentum out. Three ultimates is good enough, and the fact that they still had the Dragon Blade afterwards meant that rebrand wasted about a minute trying to get around the outside there. Then they started swapping up the pathing coming in underground, and still, being able to use Kaiser's walls to be able to block off that, being able to use stuff like the Graviton Surge, even though they didn't get a lot of explicit value out of those things, they stopped the aggression from Rebrand. They changed the pacing, changed the tempo of how Rebrand wanted to push forward. And when you've got something like a Reinhardt that needs to close the distance, that's all you really need to be able to do. And managed to make it work.
Yeah. Absolutely. They managed to make it work. They were able to hold on just long enough to succeed. And I've got to talk about Sobek's beats, just as a Lucio so far, has been doing a very good job of giving Necros no value there. So canceling out the Blade has been great. Now, how do you cancel out, the rest of the Genji? Because Necros has shown us very clearly he does not need a Blade to succeed. That is just a nice little bonus. And I'm curious here, if they're going to go for the Havana hold, they're going to have to push in close, and here it comes. A very similar team comp to what we saw earlier. I believe the only swap is going to be Pure Irish on the Diva instead of the Orisa like we saw earlier from the side of Kaiser with an immediate Widow swap has to get off because that team is far too close. Eli with the first kill already. A much more successful Havana hold in favor of Rebrand in progress.
Yeah, for now, it's all dependent on how long you can stall this out. You're almost guaranteed to lose it at some stage. But just not coming out in any sort of synergy. They leave Kaiser high and dry on the Reaper. Eventually, when you got that much damage focused in on you, now I'm Special just kind of trying to sit and hold dangerously or hold safely in the spawn room, trying to just poke at anyone. Rebrand having a much better success of the Savannah hold.
Yeah, absolutely. Finding 2 eliminations, they're able to keep the wheels in lock here. That cart is still in park. I mean, I'm not sure the keys have even been turned in the ignition quite yet, but Kaiser might be able to make the magic happen here, picking up Sobek. Eli does find the kill, but here comes Necros. What did I say? Nano Blade is not needed. Coming through, I'm Special will pick up Eli, and Necros finds that finishing touch, the exclamation point, if you will, on the fight win for However, they did lose an entire minute off the clock.
Yeah, that was big. And the only reason why they actually came out and managed to push through at all was, we relied on I'm Special, who sat in that doorway, managed to build up nearly 100 charge, ran out with 90, killed 3 people, and still nearly went down to Eli, managing to just read that, jump around the wall and get the secondary fire on there. And so, again, I'm Special coming through here as the play, but it's the Dragon Blade Necros the other way.
And Draco doesn't even get to blink before he's ripped to shreds by Necros there. Immediately going to be coming through. The Shatter even misses the Genji. So, again, a very aggressive commit coming through from Blur. Unfortunately, that is not going to be what they want coming through here. The Necros might be able to survive if he's lucky, but Eli commits that. Blizzard able to find a double kill off the back of it. Now, again, a lot of ultimates used to succeed, but you did succeed, so they were worth it eventually down the line.
I mean, did they succeed though? They didn't stop the payload. Now they've got to run forward into a Graviton Surge and a Transcendence. And while they managed to kill off the Genji and the Wrecking Ball, that wasn't the main fight. Still are, yeah, managing to push this payload forward. I'm Special going to have to do a lot of work now. Very high charge. He's going to be able to lob and damage, but it gets taken out by the triple headshot from Andreko. And Pure Irish going to secure the fight here for Rebrand in Progress.
Yeah, no, this is great if you're Rebrand in Progress. You are 90 seconds away from guaranteeing a map 4, but we saw how this looked on, Numbani. It was exactly the same as what we saw so far. Blur does stagger Cool by a little bit, so you get an additional maybe 10, 20 seconds off the clock if you're lucky, but you're still gonna have to hold for a full minute. There's a Death Blossom, and other than that, if you survive the Death Blossom, I honestly think this is Rebrand in Progress fight to win.
Yeah, I think that they can do it, and it all comes down to how well they use that Immortality build. The Dead Eye, goodbye, Necros.
Oh, wow, that is going to be just absolutely lethal, but no, this might be even worse here. Kaiser with the triple! Both supports down the drain. Eli finds the kill, but the damage has been done. Blink and you miss it. A single Death Blossom tears the entirety of the team apart. Cool Boy will pick up Eli. Pure Irish gone, and there will be no one fast enough to recontest. Oh yeah, they have secured that first point. We've got to watch this one again.
Oh, that first shot as he jumps down onto the McCree, one clips him in the head. That's what a lot of players don't realize you can do, is you get that instant one shot and then you press Q. You don't rely just on the Q. Takes out the only player who could have stunned him up and ends out that team fight straight away. Now it's Rebrand in Progress trying valiantly, but they've still got so much to fight through. Necros coming through with the Dragon Blade. Doesn't get a lot of value, but still the rest of the team getting everything that they need to push through with this payload.
Absolutely, that is going to be just... I'm curious to see what comes through here. Kaiser is going to be able to find that kill. Chasm does find an elimination onto Eli, but the Nano Blade felt unique. It felt a little unnecessary, but I guess they're trying to open as much space as possible, as quickly as possible in order to succeed. So I want to see what is brought to the table here in this next fight. As you commit those ultimates, what are you going to use coming forward here? Probably that minefield, because we've seen that as an amazing space opener.
With the Earth Shatter, can he actually get something out of this? He hasn't got a huge amount previously, but nope.
Eli's gonna get caught out, and it looks like this is just gonna be another fight for all. Yeah, things were a little rough around that first point, but unfortunately for the entirety of Rebrand in Progress, I mean, a fight that I thought was almost guaranteed to be theirs, they lose entirely to just that one Death Blossom, and now it looks like Rebrand in Progress may have to kiss Havana goodbye, as they can barely even get into the aggression here. They can barely even get into the fight as they're constantly being forced back out.
Yeah, and look at this. We've still got Special, who's got such use out of these Graviton Surges, can stay alive now. Pop it whenever they need to try and clean someone up. And Kaiser on the high ground. Oh! Puts up the wall over the Diva Bomb. It gets shattered everywhere, but protects the whole team. Now the Graviton Surge is going to be used to pick up Eli on the May. The rest of Rebrand in Progress just tries to trickle it out, and no one can stop it. Oh yeah, taking their third in a row.
Yeah, oh yeah, just clean sweeping the entirety of this matchup here. And, you know, clean sweeping may be a little bit of a relative term, as the maps were pretty close, like I said, except for the end of Havana there. Things were looking a little bit rough. They lose. Things were good until that first point cap, that high noon, just onto Necros, opening things up. They find the value they need, and then they get to succeed moving forward, coming through. They find the value they want, and they truly did not stop after capping that first point of Havana. But all in all, oh yeah, they come through. They're super strong. They are hyper aggressive. Unfortunately for RIP, they are going to lose the series 3-0, which, like I said, you know, I feel that doesn't exactly convey how close this series really was. The first two maps were very close, coming down to the final moments, coming down to the final opportunities. But oh yeah, they just always found themselves on the top of the excitement, on top of the aggression there. They walk away victorious.
Yeah. Let's be fair. Lijiang Tower, both teams managed to pick up a map before we ended up on the third map. Numbani was not the cleanest execution. Both teams held very well, and the attacks ended up actually costing both these teams, and the attacks proved to be the difficult point to gain. Havana just proving too much for Rebrand in Progress to get all the way through. Looked good when they had some momentum, but I think at the end of the day, oh yeah, just doing a slightly better job of cycling their ultimates, a slightly better job of when it came to dropping a couple of ultimates, they knew how to get the most out of those ultimates, and then they realized how many ultimates they needed to win the fight. They dropped just the Nano Blade and then won the team fight out like that. They dropped just the Graviton Surge and maybe something like an EMP on top of it. 2 ultimates and you win the fight. You keep cycling that between the 6 players, and oh yeah, taking it at the end. Didn't always get it right, Numbani, but they did it often enough to be able to get through and take the 3 games.
Yeah, and we are going to actually get to talk to one of the players from the side of Oh Yeah here in just a couple of minutes. I believe we're going to be interviewing the tank player I'm Special. So we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes with that interview. Don't go far, because even after that interview, we've got more Overwatch left for you. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. We are here with the absolute powerhouse tank player, primarily Zarya, if I'm not mistaken. I'm Special. How are you feeling, my friend, walking away from a 3-0 victory?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was relatively easy, and I am the god of off-tank on Zarya.
So, you say things are relatively easy, but I guess I'll ask my first question. It's going to be about Numbani, your offense in particular. Things were looking a little bit, I don't want to say rough, but things were definitely going slower. They weren't really working out in your favor. Do you think you were making kind of the mistakes to make that happen, or was your offense just not pushing strong enough into the defense to get through?
I think the ball, he was learning a few heroes because he hasn't got enough time IRL to focus on learning the heroes because he has to feed all of his pet hamsters in his home. So he has to play new heroes in the actual Trials games. So I think that was the reason we lost, because he's trying to play new heroes. But I do think his Ryan is way better than Blaze.
Fair enough.
Those are brave words, I gotta say. Brave words that you're coming in there. And it might just have been, I mean, it was Chasm who was playing that main tank for you, and just really favoring the Wrecking Ball. So obviously his home hamsters are inspiring his online hamster gameplay. But the rest of your team came through with some great synergy, being able to cycle ult. And you say that you are the off-tank god. Fair play. You're actually my player of the match for this one, being able to come through with some very clutch ultimates. who was making the shot calls in terms of being able to cycle the ultimates, and how cleanly do you feel like you guys were able to execute what the plan was?
Oh, well, we have a very precise plan, scrimming 8 hours a day. We strategize before the map, really analyze the players, and we just come up with a strategy before the game. Hump here is the one who spends all of his time, because he doesn't have a job or a wife or kids, so he can spend 12 hours a day, psychoanalyzing the enemy team so we can get the best, performance in our trials games, because it really means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I definitely want to talk about, there were a couple of times, especially on the second and third map, where you guys commit usually more ultimates than you had to. Was that just kind of a guarantee you win the fight scenario, or maybe was it a little bit of miscommunication from the team?
It was definitely a huge miscommunication from Hump here. He was just a massive idiot. It's completely his fault. He said use all ults. So I would 100% blame Humper there. It's all his fault.
And Humper is Cool Boy, right?
Yeah, sorry, he's Cool Boy 263, whatever his name is.
I mean, fair enough. He's the one who's got the entire responsibility of the teams behind him, psychoanalyzing 12 hours a day. It might come down to sleep deprivation, that you guys are putting too much pressure on him. But in whole, you guys looked pretty solid. You were able to get out some nice combinations. You seem to like one strategy, and that was it. Is it a case of you guys really struggle to play other strategies, or you just got, we've perfected this 100%, we don't need anything else to carry us through this tournament?
We're just all really, really bad. We can't play anything else. If we're playing any other heroes, we're just throwing. We're all dirty one tricks, nothing else.
Fair enough. You said it, man. We didn't say it. You said it, but I mean, fair enough. Do with that what you will. I'm really curious to see, though, moving forward, are you guys going to be sticking with, these team comps are comfortable, we're going to be staying with them? Are you going to be trying to change things up moving further into trials?
Oh no, so as I said, scrimming 8 hours a day. We're getting Bull to really practice other heroes, and his Ryan is actually getting phenomenal, as you saw from the gameplay. He's really, really improving as a player. We're going to get Hump here or Cool Boy on Lucio, and I think we're going to try out Abs on Genji, because Necros is just too bad,
Of course.
Yeah.
The Genji specialist that he is known for his Genji gameplay will be replaced by the support player. That checks out, I think. I think that makes sense.
Abs is way better mechanically in every single way.
So who is Necros then going to be going on to support role, or are you just kicking him from the team completely?
We're either going to kick him, or we're going to make him play Lucio or Brig. If he doesn't want to play either, then we'll just kick him instantly.
Fair enough. Okay, last question for you guys before we go to our big break is, you seem to really feel comfortable on your Zarya, obviously being able to get a lot of big outplays. At one stage, you and Eli were facing off there. You managed to just get around the wall and wait for him to jump forward, secondary fire on him. Are there any players in this tournament or teams in this tournament that you're a little bit worried about going forwards, or is it just a case of walk forwards and bounce around anyone who comes near you?
I would love to give you guys some content, but there is absolutely nobody I'm scared of at all. They're all easy.
With the way the rest of this interview went, I'm not the least bit surprised to hear you say that. You guys sound very confident. You've shown your worth here today. We know you are not just talking it up, but your bite is just as strong as your bark as you walk away victorious with a 3-0 victory. But I'm special. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend, and we are very excited to see what you bring to the table in your next matchup. But, I mean, enjoy the rest of your day. Tell your whole team a huge congrats. You guys live another day here in Contenders Trials.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Thank you. And with that, folks, we are going to throw to a super short break. We've got another game coming up for you in just a couple of minutes, so definitely keep an eye out for that. I am Septilence, joined by the wonderful Altruism, and we'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes for a brand new game of Overwatch. Don't go far. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for more Overwatch Contenders Trials 2021. I am Sepulence, joined by my good friend and co-caster Altruism to bring you our second of two games today. It is going to be O1 Esports up against Mind Goblin here. And it looks
this should be interesting. This should be interesting, I must admit. O1 again, one of these teams that came through from the open division, managing to come through all the way in first place there, basically undefeated, taking that upper bracket run, and then being challenged by O2 Esports now, that we just got to see. Again, another one of these very one-trick teams, very reliant on someone like Goku, who plays the Pharah phenomenally well, even able to very comfortably challenge people in the air in the Pharah duel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very excited to see, because we're seeing another kind of one-trick pony kind of team, but it's not going to be the same heroes as the other team we just saw. So basically, got a brand new slate for us to hang out on. But the thing that will remain the same will, of course, be that first map, that control map. It will be Lijiang Towers. You just saw a moment ago, and that's going to be, I believe, the starting map for quite a while. So Lijiang Tower map, I hope y'all are comfortable with and rather familiar with. I know, as I mentioned earlier on today, I love it. I love that all three stages usually call for different team comps. They call the teams to adapt and change their play style. Live in the action, you can make a team comp, but if the enemy brings out something different, you're gonna have to adapt. You're gonna have to change, because that is what Overwatch is all about. At the end of the day, just that raw adaptation.
I mean, you say that as we're going into another one-trick team. I mean, O1 is good enough, though. And when it comes to something like Lijiang, sure, the control center might be a little bit more difficult for them to run through, but something like Night Market or Gardens, are such actually Farah favored maps. You know, they actually have a lot of ability that you can get value on it. And the way that O1 plays, if you guys have never gotten to see this team before, here's what you're looking out for. You got Goku, Apples, and Yubi, who run around together. Apples goes around on the Wrecking Ball, Goku goes around on a Farah, and Yubi picks up something like a Tracer, and they pick a target, normally the supports in the back line, and they just flatten them. In a second, you get one direct hit, one clip from a Tracer, a roll through, and maybe a pile driver from Apples. You have a very dead support, and that's what O1 relies on to be able to pick apart the back line and then win the fight out from there.
Absolutely, and the scary thing, you know, about Afara is if your team doesn't have an above-average hit scan, which we have seen teams before, somehow they get all the way to Contenders Trials and their hit scan department isn't exactly where it needs to be. That could really devastate this team moving forward. But of course, I've got a little bit of faith here coming through Mind Goblin. They're a team that honestly I'm not super familiar with, but they're definitely a team that I've heard good things about. They've obviously made it all the way to Contenders Trials, so they're ready to make their name for themselves here. They're ready to bring the absolute 110%. I believe we'll be jumping into the map here in just a couple of seconds, so honestly, I'm very excited to see what is brought to the table and what these teams are going to choose here on Lijiang Tower, because of course it depends on which stage, on which comp they're going to start with, unless you're O1 Esports. But we'll talk about that later. On the side of Mind Goblin, it's going to be all about the stage and what they choose to bring out here in round 1.
Some of the things that we have seen, considering we did get to see them a little bit yesterday, was Wex and SXJ, who are their 2 DPS plays. Wex was very comfortable on Sombra, and SXJ was quite comfortable on something like a Mei. And so these two very area-dominant characters allow you to play a certain playstyle, and then they can kind of change the rest of the lineup around it. But what they're trying to do is create some sort of safe zone that they can get to. This is going to be very powerful if we go through to Control Center, you know, being able to get up onto the point or be able to take a nice high ground position on those stairs. Those sort of plays are going to be very pivotal to the way that we have Mind Goblin wanting to win this match. Whether they can maybe extend that zone of comfortability to include a Goku flying around on a Farah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and of course we got to talk about the fact that a Sombra Mei comp coming through, that is incredibly low damage. I mean, that is a very low damage team comp. Mei, in particular, if she's not able to freeze people, if she's missing her ult fires, Sombra is, if I'm not mistaken, the lowest damage dealer like in the entire game. I'm pretty sure a headshot does like 6 damage. She really does not do a lot of damage up close and personal. That does, all those stats might be wrong. I have no idea, but either way.
Did I say Sombra? Sorry, I meant Symmetra.
Oh, even better. Yes, okay, wait.
Even better, right?
That gets me very excited. We go back to what I was talking about earlier. I love Symmetra. Okay, the exact opposite. A high damage dealer, super high damage dealer. I love to see it. I'm super excited. And I think all 3 stages of Lijiang Tower, I think Symmetra is one of few characters where she gets the same amount of value across all 3. She is really a very strong choice all the way across Lijiang Tower.
I love how earlier when you were saying that there was a chance for a Symmetra to come out, you were like, I hate playing against Symmetra. But
I'm not playing. I love watching one. I'm not playing. I love watching good Symmetras. I just hate playing against them because they're usually better than I am. But if I'm not in the game, I absolutely love seeing Symmetra, so fingers crossed here.
Yeah, and when you got a Symmetra who can set up turrets, it creates a little bit more difficulty for your opponents to move around. Even if you're not targeting Goku directly, you're stopping that follow-up damage. It makes Yubi's life a little bit harder, being able to come in and maybe get those Tracer picks and just finish off those kills at the end of the fight. It makes Yubi Apple's job on the Wrecking Ball a little bit harder. You got to now move around and you got to start slowing down your rotations just to try and clear out the turrets here or there. Good use of a teleporter can get you out of trouble. The Mei being able to wall off place, and it seems like it's going to be O1 definitely picking up a very favored lineup. Goku going to be going onto a Tracer though, so this is a lineup I haven't actually seen them play before, and I have not seen Nivelera before for this team.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of, I don't know, I feel like I've used the word unique choices coming out a lot. So we're seeing some very consistent play styles. Wex and SNJ, you hit the nail right in the head. They're going to be bringing out the Symmetra Echo, which is opposite to what I was saying earlier, a lot of damage. That is an insane amount of damage. Arguably 2 of the strongest damage dealers in the game. UB was on Symmetra for just a moment, getting that teleporter up, but now it's going to be Tracer Farah. This is, I feel, going to be a difficult map for Farah to really find her value. If she puts herself inside above the point, there's very few places to run once you're inside.
Yeah, this is the one part of Lijiang Tower that I was worried about Goku's proficiency on. Still trying to make this aerial duel happen though. Going to be trying to take out SXJ, and one more rocket on either the Pharaoh or the Echo would work. Instead, it's going to be Yubi taking out the Echo at the beginning. Sorry, the Mercy at the beginning of this fight.
Straybor and Wex are going to fall, so a fight that looked like it could have been in their favor, unfortunately, looks like maybe flipped away from them here. SXJ will be able to pick up apples successfully, though, so Mind Goblin, they're only down by 1, however, it is going to be 0-1 Esports who pick up that first point cap. Every percent is obviously wildly important. It looks like they're going to be able to even go as far as stabilize the fight here.
Yeah, and now you start to see how 0-1 likes to do this. They isolate a target off, Melon gets slept up, and the call goes out instantly. Everyone collapses on this one person. SXJ comes in. Goku only needs to hit one rocket. That's the problem about fighting against someone else in the air, is to hit multiple rockets is difficult. You see the rest of the team now start collapsing. I'm on that. The Diva also comes and joins in the fray, and Mind Goblin needs to be careful about being caught on their own.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. That's definitely something that's a little bit of a pattern we're seeing here early on. These players need to be keeping an eye out, making sure they're not engaging or moving in on their lonesome. Especially one here does get the nano boost out, but was getting a little bit caught out. Fortunately enough, the tanks were able to get in the way and help them survive. Melon finds one, Apples finds another, but SXJ will flip the fight again, finding Goku. As I said, Yoham falls to Yubi there, the melee in the backline. SXJ on the Echo, just dumping the damage and desperate to turn this fight around in favor of Mind Goblin. But 0-1 Esports, we have seen the powerhouse this team is, and so far they are pulling 0 punches. They're looking to take Lijiang's first control point 100-0.
Yeah, the point has been flipped around. Mind Goblin going to start getting some position here. SXJ going to have to duplicate for the next fight. 0-1 likes to drag out fights. Even when you think that they've lost so far, they've got one person around, and that one person somehow manages to get through. But the key pick is constantly going to be Goku. If you can take him out at the beginning of the fight, you open yourself up with a great opportunity.
Yeah, great opportunities. I mean, are going to be exactly what these teams need, especially on the side of Mind Goblin. They need these opportunities to engage, because so far I feel like they're struggling to make those opportunities for themselves. I don't want to say they need to get lucky, but they definitely would need to change up a couple of things if they want to succeed. And swapping onto an Ana, I'm not sure is the way to go. SXJ, unfortunately enough, gets taken out before they can even do a darn thing about it. However, they are being the distraction of a lifetime. The entire team focusing down this transformed Echo, and the rest of Mind Goblin just sweeps in behind and finds some great eliminations.
Or Wex swapping onto the soldier is going to make life a living hell for Goku, because having that tac visor means you can't really watch it, you can't guard. Now, you've got to be focused on the soldier. That has to be your key priority, otherwise you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Strayball going to be also coming in with this Valkyrie, means that 0-1 Esports needs to start running now.
Yeah, 0-1 Esports, they need to tuck tail and run, especially after losing their Pulse Bomb, their Mech, their Diva, and their Wrecking Ball all going to fall. You need to get out of this fight as quickly as possible. We are 10% shy of a last fight scenario. They've got to be super careful if they want to turn this one around successfully. Things were looking very good for 0-1 Esports early on, but as soon as Mind Goblin found their footing, I mean, they have just buried their feet in the ground and refused to move.
It's that flexibility, it's that adaptation that you talk about that's so important here. 0-1 has one real shot to get back into this. Do they have anything? Can they get something off this barrage?
Oh, looks like not going to be able to use it yet. Goku does find a kill on SXJ. Here comes the barrage, able to pick up Juzo straight away there. The bomb will come out, and unfortunately, not able to find anything. The barrage may have done just enough here for 0-1 Esports to find their footing and confirm a point swap in their favor. Of course, if they lose it even one more time, that will be the first stage going in favor of Mind Goblin. But Mind Goblin still got to win a fight to make the magic happen there. 65% online for 0-1 Esports, and Goku just demolished there by SXJ and Wex here. 99% still alive here for Mind Goblin, but they are losing players one by one on the side of 0-1 Esports, and as I say, they're able to trade 3 back. The impossible may have become possible here.
Yeah, this is how 0-1 plays. Even if they can just drag it out for long enough to get some reinforcements back, they've got such good pick potential and such good synergy between their players. Whoever's alive is going to be working together. They managed to keep the points ticking up that entire fight. And even though it was a long fight, look at this. Pure Juzo just walking slowly back, comes back into the fight. And it means we got one fight either way. Wex going to be starting us off with this tac visor. Can he get anything out of it, though?
Looks like everybody's pretty much able to hide out of the way. Might be able to find the D-Mech there with a little bit of help from the team. Immortality Field getting things caught out effectively enough there. Straybor will die to the remech, unfortunately there. IMO97 gets that kill. Yubi picks up Yoham. No supports available from Mind Goblin. A fight that started off so strong for them, immediately being thrown down the drain here. Goku fights 3, including the D-Mech there, but Melon will pick up Yubi. Never Okay, the Mercy also falls. Goku is going to be able to be taken offline as well, so the Far Mercy gone. SXJ taken offline by Apples. The opposing Wrecking Ball not far behind. Melon does get that kill, and looks like O1 Esports may have done it here. Overtime ticks away, and the first control stage goes in favor of O1 Esports.
Yeah, it's when you can actually take out the key players from O1 and be able to shut down that snowball effect. If you don't sequentially keep up that pressure, though, if Mind Goblin takes their foot off that accelerator for even a second, O1 able to rally with whatever dregs of a team fight they've got left to be able to pull it back, be able to draw it out, be able to keep that percentage going up, and being able to execute with a single team fights to be able to then come back into it where they were already, they've lost possession of the point. Mind Goblin looked really good, and as long as they can get that extra one little fight, they'd be able to clean up the O1 at one stage. I think they've got a good chance of being able to come back into this.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's some great opportunity to come back to this if you are on the side of Mind Goblin. They were super close. They're 9-9-9-9 across the board. They've just got to be super careful moving forward here because they... Oh, actually, UB chooses to use the teleporter out of spawn rather than up into the window. They're not going to be holding on to the teleporter or the turrets trying to get early point presence. Instead, it's going to be O1 Esports Goku, who I've just got to completely out of the side of the fight. I love seeing Farah gameplay. I feel like we never see Farahs here in this high of kind of these skill rankings, so to speak. So I'm very excited to see Goku bringing this to the table. But maybe that's why we don't see Farahs this high up, because the hit scan players are absolutely terrifying. Luckily enough, there was a great res in time to keep Goku back alive. Juzo picks up the kill onto Apples, turning things in favor of Mind Goblin here. They are going to get first point cap once again.
Yeah, and this is that efficiency in the DPS that you talk about. Wex has had the number of Goku every time, and Goku's managed to be largely uncontested in Contenders, the open division. But when you get up to Trials, when you start to get to this, we see Mind Goblin just sitting behind that Ryan shield. They've got a Diva to take away any of the incoming damage, and they're happy to just sit on the point. They got 25%, and O1 hasn't really approached them yet.
Yeah, O1 Esports choosing to go for a little bit of a slower strategy, committing a nano boost out of the Farah, maybe just trying to farm up that barrage. Maybe if you're fast enough, you get that barrage, that nano barrage, but unfortunately not able to get things lined up fast enough. And here it comes, the boost, the concussion blast into barrage. They're able to pick up the Reinhardt and the DMAC coming through. It looks like now it is just going to be absolutely shooting fish in a barrel here for Goku, staggering the Baby Diva for as long as possible, even baiting out the Blizzard from SXJ. And that is certainly an ultimate that Mind Goblin is going to want back.
Yeah, that was maybe a little bit too late. The SXJ maybe panicking a little bit. You talk about the nano onto the Pharah, and it's something actually interesting that I saw the maths on the other day. When you've got a Pharah who's being damage boosted at least by a Mercy and gets the nano, you now have so much damage reduction. You're also doing 200 damage per direct rocket. I mean, yes, that takes away Wex almost, like he's just able to survive through that. But when you've now got your combos coming through, as we see all the ultimates being dropped down by both these teams, it is Mind Goblin coming out on top of this.
Yeah, that is just... I did not know that. Oh, so thank you, because those are some insane numbers to consider. 200 per direct rocket. That is practically unlivable if you position yourself well enough as that far. And speaking of good positioning, the DMAC bomb coming through here onto IMO 97, but it's going to be onto Juzo as well. Gives a bomb of their own, goes for the remech. Both Divas going to be lined back up into that mech there, keeping things at a clean 6v6. But as I say, Juzo finds Apples, loses the mech in the process. SXJ picks up the Mercy with a phenomenal pulse bomb, and it looks like SXJ might be able to. No, Nay will not be able to find Goku there. Unfortunately, going to get that Mega Yubi, picking up Juzo during that same time. Wex finds the DMAX, Straightboard finds one, but Goku Justice rains from above into one elimination. One might turn into two with a great rocket, but unfortunately enough, not able to find their footing there. 65% rearing at 10 for O1 Esports. Oh, but SXJ picks up Goku, and things again going to be flipping back in favor of Mind Goblin.
I was impressed at how cleanly and how evenly that fight went the whole way through here. Melon, we're going to see it on the replay, just gets the fire strike through the window, and the rest of Mind Goblin just start to escalate out from that point. Trading back and forth, both of them dropped a lot of ultimates at the beginning, but it is going to be Mind Goblin again, just taking up this very patient position, letting the damage come in from the outside, and O1 maybe going to have to drop that nano boost to break into the back line here.
Great observation. Oh, you hit the nail right on the head, my friend. Here comes that nano boost, and it looks like that Farah just barely may be able to survive. Oh, Wex doesn't pull the trigger fast enough, so Goku gets to live another day. Able to find SXJ. Johan picking up not one, but two of the tanks coming through here. Only 9% needed for Mind Goblin to force us into another stage 3, and Johan with the third kill, just cleaning the team up. Make it 4! A very bloodthirsty support, just ripping the entirety of O1 Esports apart. Apples cannot do enough here on the Wrecking Ball. Just just barely. The overtime timer stays alive. The Tracer gets in. The pulse bomb does not find the kill. Wex will pick up Yubi, but the damage cannot be done fast enough. IMO97 able to recontest, loses the mech. No bomb in sight. The Fire Strike will pick up the baby D.Va, and then overtime timer will begin to tick once again. The players just not in the proper position. They don't have the numbers to keep the dream alive. The Mercy will be the 6th and final member to fall, and Mind Goblin takes stage 2 of Lijiang Tower.
I would put money on Johan picking up play of the game from that.
Oh, no way that it doesn't happen.
I mean, like, I know supports don't get enough credits, being a support man myself. I mean, but Johan played fantastically, gets up the 4K, and then denies the pulse bomb from Yubi the other way with the immortality field. That was great heads-up play. We always did say that Baptiste is the DPS's choice for supports. Just throw out some random. I mean, he's got an instant heal button with your shift. You gotta save myself, no one else matters. An ultimate that only benefits myself, and then a lot of damage with a left click. So that's all that support wants to be. Johan dreaming of bigger DPS life, and certainly proving their proficiency, but we have an even game, my friend.
Oh, absolutely, and this is where all the dreams will come true. We saw another teleport strat coming out from the side of O1 Esports. They're trying to get the team in as quickly as possible, trying to get Goku in position as quickly as possible, and this far up high in the sky, this is one of the highest skyboxes in the game, so Goku really gets to rain justice from above, but a lot of great eats from Juzo is making this very difficult. No, I don't even get to talk about it as SXJ on the Mei will pick up Yubi very early on, the Tracer falling up. We've seen a lot of Tracer first bloods today, but Goku tying things up, finding Straybor coming through. This is going to be some great value off the back of it now. The Lucio missing the speed boost is gone, and this would be a good opportunity for O1 Esports to engage if they can find just one more kill, but instead Mind Goblin, 3rd time in a row, finds that first point cap.
You can see how much Wex actually respects Goku. There's such a lot of animosity between these two. Goku gonna come in with the double kill, takes out both of the most dangerous players to him, Wex and Johan.
Oh, wow!
Melon manages to get one. The barrage over the top gonna be able to take out Straybor, not spending a lot of time in this fight, and picking up SSJ. That's a 4 kill for Goku, and gonna be res back up into this fight. O1 gonna be able to maybe turn around this point. Yeah, eventually, guys.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't, I'd be shocked. Goku picked up either 3 or 4 there. There was very few players left on the team to be brought back to life there and to really carry the fight on. But now the Blizzard is at the ready here. 1/4 of the point already capped. This is going to be a good opportunity to see what is brought to the table here from Mind Goblin. They can turn this around if they're careful, but you got to be more careful than that. Wex just CC'd into oblivion there. IMO97 does pick things up just a little bit too late there. Wex is going to be able to be taken offline. A 5v6, a fight that they're going to choose to take. The Blizzard being brought out by SXJ, but losing Straybor as well. Yubi picks up one, Goku finds another, and the support line is gone for Mind Goblin. Melon with the tactical reset. Juzo, I believe, the only one to make it out of the fight.
Yeah, I told you this from the first time. Since before these people even locked in their heroes, I was like, this is how O1 plays. They're going to get in your backline. Straybor and Johan were the first people to fall in both or all 3 of those fights so far. Goku going into the backline. Apple's now going to be able to deny up a lot of space with this. Navalera going to be able to use that very, very early Valkyrie to be able to try and keep up O1. And can they manage to keep on to this point?
We saw Apples almost go down there, but thanks to adaptive shields, they were just barely able to make it out. Now SXJ caught out of the back line by Yubi with the help of Apples there. Now Mind Goblin, they're gonna push in again. They lose somebody in such an uncomfortable slot of time. They have to simply push in without them. Wex, fortunately enough, will be able to tie things up. Finds the opposing Tracer, so a very clean 5-5. The mech being lost on one side. Another solo commit Earthshatter onto a Wrecking Ball. We've seen that, I think that's the 3rd time now across the 2 games we have seen today. Wex finding a couple of great eliminations. Melon finds another. Juzo gets the bomb onto the Mercy, but so many ultimates were needed to keep that fight alive, just barely able to win it. Now they can't afford to lose even one more fight, or they will lose Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, this is the big question now, is what are you going to do when one starts popping on that nano burst, when Yubi's building up that pulse bomb right now? Wex needs to try and get something, and I think the big play here has to be how is Straybor going to be using this beast, this sound barrier. All the good stick comes out from SXJ, but there's nothing really to follow on. Apples and Yubi working so well together so far.
Yeah, we've seen some great synergy coming through. Apples in particular just on the Wrecking Ball, creating great opportunities, but as I say it, the Wrecking Ball can simply not do enough to keep a Tracer alive from a one-shot ability there. SXJ will be able to find Apples as well, so I talked about they can't afford to lose even one more fight. And you know, it looks like they may have been able to put this fight in the bag. They find 2 eliminations. They're able to keep themselves alive. And okay, picking up the Mercy, that is the nail in the coffin there on that fight. So that is a guaranteed additional 10% for Mind Goblin. They're getting danger close to a last fight to hit territory of their own.
Yeah, and I'm liking this play so far coming out from Mind Goblins. They're being very patient. They're moving well as a team. They're recognizing where the general threat is coming from 0-1. And with this very mobile comp, you can tend to get sucked into bad plays. You know, you chase after the Tracer or the Wrecking Ball. And so far, Mind Goblin's doing a good job to recognize where the danger is coming from. And it seems to be coming from above.
Yeah, but a great stick out of the... No! SXJ, no! Oh, I was just about to say things can be turned around here for Mind Goblin, but unfortunately, oh wait, hold on, Melon might be here to save the day. Things were tied up for just a moment, and then there was a brief moment is in favor of Yo1 Esports, but they have done it. Mind Goblin, they have successfully turned this fight around. Baptiste, however, may fall, but Wex on the legs, locking in a double kill there. The Tracer and the Ana both going to fall. The bomb at the ready for Juzo. Wex turning 2 into 3, and Mind Goblin, it looks like they very well may have done it. Goku taken offline by SXJ. They just got to get rid of the Lucio, and like a fly meeting a fly swat of the Lucio falls just like that. Blink and you miss it. Lijiang Tower comes to a close, but we're going to get to watch SXJ. Oh no, perhaps we won't. The replay will not come through, but all in all, Mind Goblin, things start rough. They walk away victorious in Lijiang Tower, going 1-0 in the series.
I cannot believe that, and now we get to see Johan. There we go. Good, just moment player of the game. Take 1, take 2. Even going to be jumping in the air. Where's your Widow grapple shots now, DPS? We've got a jumping Baptiste. I'm sad they didn't show all 4 there, but oh my goodness, I'm impressed that Mind Goblin managed to come back and actually take our first control map.
I want to talk about very quickly. I got to see the player cards there. Yoham healed 34% of team damage taken. Goku dealt 35% of team damage dealt. So Yoham almost single-handedly canceled out most of the damage that Goku brought to the table. That was probably the closest 2 cards I've ever seen close together like that. That is insane to consider that Yoham not only getting insane eliminations, play of the game, but also healing almost 40% of team damage. I mean, that is just showing a very, very strong support player on the side of Mind Goblin.
You know what the big problem with that is? And it's not a reflective stat, because Goku's impact is not in the brute force amount of damage bringing out. It's the burst potential of being able to follow up a rocket with a quick apples, with a quick Yubi that we've talked about in the beginning. That's where they were really starting to get value. The fact that you're healing up as a Baptiste, the splash damage that Goku's throwing in from different angles and stuff, because that's what 0-1 did, especially there on Night Market. They were able to just stay outside the room, put in damage until they got an opportunity, force out something like the Immortality Matrix, then collapse in and win the team fight. And so it's impressive. Don't get me wrong. Mind Goblin and the rest of the whole team played very well. But they in fact, they played well enough to win. Let's give them credit. They did very well. And I sound like I'm harping on for 0-1. But the way 0-1 is executing it seems to be more consistent. There was just some individual plays, Wex coming out through consistently on both the Soldier and the McCree to be able to shut down someone. That sort of consistent being able to hit heads all the time. Is it enough to really carry them through the rest of this matchup?
Yeah, we saw some great hit scan gameplay across the board on the side of Mind Goblin. We saw that great McCree just canceling out. It was more McCree versus Tracer than it was McCree versus Pharah, which is, you know, usually the tried and true that we're used to. But instead, we saw a lot of Tracer versus Pharah on the other side. SXJ really just constantly being a thorn in the side of Goku, making it, I want to say making it difficult to play Pharah, but at the same time, Goku top damage dealer on the team. So clearly doing what needs to be done, right? Goku in particular, we saw some incredible barrages as well. And of course, like I said earlier, I love to see the Pharah gameplay all in all. I'm very excited to see it. We don't see Pharah often. Win or lose, I'm glad to see a little bit of a more unique niche character coming to the table here.
Yeah, and that's a bit of what 0-1 brings to you, is you know what's going to come out. What's going to be interesting to me is I find Pharah very useful on a control point because it's such a scrappy team fight. You don't actually know where the damage is coming from. You can circle around the main point. When we now start getting to our hybrid or our payload maps, start going, is there going to be enough space
for
Pharah to actually get it? Or are we just going to see Goku maybe popping out for just enough time to get that impactful pick on an attack or something like that, that opens up the space for the rest of the team?
The map choice checks out here. Blizzard World, I think, makes sense. With a Pharah available, I think Blizzard World is going to be one of the more open hybrid maps that we're going to be seeing brought to the table. Numbani, I feel, first point may be good for a Pharah, but pretty much the rest of the map is a little bit more clunky. Second point in particular, there's so much high ground, and Pharah can't fly much higher, so of course, take that off the table. Surprised Hollywood wasn't chosen if we're going to support the Pharah here. Oh, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm right. Goku's team did choose the map, so the Blizzard World certainly does make sense, as almost all of it is very open and should give Goku a great opportunity to just, as Pharah always says, rain justice from above. We should really see Goku getting some great value here.
I think what pips this out above Hollywood is that Yubi loves the Tracer. And I find that Tracer might be a little bit limited on the high ground of Hollywood, especially in that streets phase that you talk about. When you get to Blizzard World, being able to control that central high ground is very, very important. What's going to be interesting to see, though, from the side of Mind Goblin, is how well Wex plays on that high ground. With the Soldier and McCree, you can actually play very nicely, hold up there, and play that more static comp. We've seen Mind Goblin already liking to sit behind Orion Shield, behind with the Diva there, sit away from the damage, and let their enemies come to them. If they can do that now on the high ground, be able to control the chokes nicely on that first point, O1 is going to have to time their attacks very, very carefully when they want to make a push.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's definitely a great observation, and I think you made that great point. They're talking about the Tracer and kind of needing that Tracer to succeed in order for the team to succeed. I want to really see what Mind Goblin brings to the table. I, of course, as well want to mention, right when you guys are going to be jumping into the game, please note we have swapped sides. So Mind Goblin, they're going to be putting themselves on the offense first, I believe, and O1 Esports will be starting on the defense. But I'm really excited to see what comps are brought to the table. How far are these teams going to change what we've already seen?
I don't expect too much from O1. Not in terms of their gameplay, but in terms of their swaps. They're trying to bait us out now. Goku, get off your McCree. No one believes you. On the other side, Mind Goblin though has some options here. Do they threaten Goku in the air? Is that the priority? Do they just try and stay alive through it? They showed some good work there. I think it was SXJ on the Echo. Did manage to challenge the Pharah in the air, but maybe that's you're trying to take a fight on your opponent's terms. There we go. Just avoid that. Don't really go into the air. You don't need to, unless Echo is a favorite hero of yours and you've got a confident Mercy. Navalera and Goku play this all the time. They know what they want to do together. And so Mind Goblin going to be coming out with a Narisa and a Diva combo.
Now that's certainly a choice. That is a choice that has been made by Mind Goblin here. I think the Orisa, I feel like you're going to be playing Orisa. You could bring a Sigma or a Reinhardt here to really support that, as her shield is obviously immobile, has a much lower health pool than it used to. So we're going to be seeing, I think, a lot of slow gameplay from Mind Goblin. They're going to be playing it slow. They're going to be utilizing these corners on point in order to succeed. But when you lose your Ashe as the very first player there and nobody's there for a resurrection, not even close, it's Yubi with a great shot onto Straybor as well. Just the absolute cleanup crew for O1 Esports already. We are hardly seeing a defensive hold from Mind Goblin here.
Yeah, this just didn't seem like a team that was built to be synergistic. I think what the theory was that Wex is there to deal with Goku, can sit behind the Orisa shield nicely. Juzo on the Diva is going to be the one to damage mitigate the Goku's rockets coming in, and you're just trying to buy time for your Ashe maybe being damage boosted up by Strayball to be able to get the shots on the Pharah that you need. O1 played around it. They picked off the important targets. They got people like Yubi in the backline, and Wex didn't even get to look at the Pharah. You were so busy watching the Tracer that was on you. Yeah, you didn't really have a chance. And so let's see if Mind Goblin can just pick things up together. Very big change in their composition. Now going for that Echo like we talked about. Doesn't have a Mercy Pocket, and the very mobile Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, the only shield they have now is Straybor on the Brigitte here, so that's going to be interesting. We talked about their enjoyment of kind of playing slow, playing behind a shield, and now they've thrown that ideology completely out the window. So we are going to have a Wrecking Ball Diva combo coming through on both sides. It's going to be SXJ versus Goku, and SXJ will be taken offline. Wex, unfortunately, not far behind. This is feeling very reminiscent of what Havana looked like in our last series, where the team caps first point and they just absolutely roll afterward here. That fight was... I'm hesitant to even call that a fight. That was so dominant in favor of O1 Esports.
Yeah, what that was is a chance to build up ultimate batteries. And now you see, with one being the only one actually not close to an ultimate, O1 has everything that they can clear. They've got the burst damage of the pulse bomb and the barrage, and they just need one opportunity to come. It's going to be Mind Goblin trying desperately to defend this.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting here as Wex is going to turn that first fight around. Finally, UB will fall with the bomb coming out on both sides, I believe. Won't be able to find any value off the back of it. Yoham, however, finding some more value just like earlier today, able to find a double kill, but meets a rocket point blank. Goku finds that kill, and the barrage from Goku picks up one more, make that a triple kill on the roster. Just barely able to survive with some great healing from that Mercy now, and the Ashe is just raining terror there, able to find Goku, but UB immediately finds that stabilizing kill, picks up Straybor as well, and a fight that looked like it could have gone in favor of Mind Goblin may have been lost from them once again.
And again, it comes down to the synergy, the fact that between UB and Goku, they're able to put in that damage. And yes, while Wex manages to stay alive through the Goku's fire, now we see UB just being completely ignored on the side of the fight. Gonna be able to just buy that time and put on the damage to clean up any kills that are just left reminiscent around. Goku needs to do the initial burst of damage. The rest of the team's gonna follow through. And Mind Goblin stalled out for a little bit, but still 4.5 minutes left for this final push.
Yeah, Mind Goblin found their footing for just a blink and you miss it moment, but now, you know, this is going to be the opportunity where they really get to shine. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to swap onto something a little more aggressive in terms of damage. Junkrat gets great value here. I know that maybe a McCree as well, just to counter out that Tracer as well as the Pharah. Goku in particular, I mean, this castle, unlike Eichenwald's castle, where Pharah kind of loses her value due to low ceilings, the ceilings in here, I mean, they're practically armed, Annie. They're so high up. So now Goku's game style doesn't change in the slightest. Oh, Melon! Oh, no. Disastrous. Just honestly disastrous.
I was about to say at the beginning of that fight that Mind Goblin just needs to be aware that O1 doesn't actually have a lot of ultimates, and so cannot just rush in there and try and force the fight. They can slow it down, but Mind Goblin do the exact wrong thing. They just give lives, they give HP to the side of O1. O1 manages to even get Melon to roll off the edge himself. That wasn't a knockoff. That wasn't a concussive blast or anything. That was him just getting the angle wrong. And now O1's coming in with a nano burst for Goku to build up the rest of that barrage. Yubi's got a pulse bomb to start us off. Aimo's got a self-destruct to be able to clear the rest of this point, and they forced out the Immortality Field at the beginning.
Oh, not only the Immortality Field, but now they've forced out that transformation here from SXJ just in an attempt to stay alive, and the boosters were used! SXJ immediately gone, gets double concussive blast and forced out of transformation into a death there. Just Goku, I mean, not only do we get to watch some Pharah gameplay, but we get to watch some top-notch Pharah gameplay. Imo goes for the reset, but gets knocked off by Juzo. This is just such a fascinating matchup here. O1 Esports loses map 1, but they're taking map 2 like absolutely nobody's business.
Are they going to be able to clear it out, though? They've still got 2.5 minutes, but they've wasted a lot of ultimates. They didn't actually get as much value out of that as they wanted to.
Right.
The fight split up a little bit. Now Goku's going to need to get something with this barrage. Aimo's still holding on to that self-destruct, but that's pretty much it from O1 Esports. And so Mind Goblin going to have an opportunity. It's going to be up to this aerial jewel at the beginning to start us off.
Yeah, and it's going to be SXJ without that support to really keep them alive. Wex will pick up 1, so a great opportunity here. The main support immediately being taken offline, and probably the IGL as well. So now they're going to have to really force things around, trying to find some great opportunities moving forward. But Apple's picking up Wex, immediately tying things up. Melon will be the next to fall. A fight that looked like it could have gone in favor of Mind Goblin will instead be flopped back onto O1 Esports' shoulders here. That barrage from Goku has just been sitting in their arsenal for so long. A great bomb, however, from IMO97 will pick up SXJ. A desperate barrage. Goku, no, gets dismissed by Yoham there, so holding on to it so long. Unfortunately, not able to find the value off the back. Wex picks up 1 once again, and, you know, no matter what, even if O1 captures, we've got to give a huge credit to Mind Goblin here. They have stalled like absolutely nobody's business.
Yeah, it's been a great play so far. Now with this Valkyrie coming out from the Mercy, being able to keep everyone up, Navalera going to be keeping all the sustain, all the pressure going the way for O1 Esports, and Goku's back into this fight. Didn't get a lot out of that barrage, but coming back so quickly, reinforced and being able to burst through everyone, and followed up by Apples and Yubi on this payload, being able to now get the nano boost as well, combined with those mines, means that Mind Goblin dwindling in their numbers, dwindling in their hope in being able to hold this out. They've got a minute left, and so they can try desperately Johan going to be swapping, in fact, onto the Moira to be able to just give a little bit more sustain. But between this damage, this burst from Apples and Yubi and Goku, they're just doing all the work, and the heads-up play coming out from the rest of the 0-1 support, keeping everyone alive. It is going to be 0-1 being able to clean out this point completely, 3-0.
What was that, like a 3-minute and 45-second stall there on that third point? Somewhere around that mark, 3 to 4 minutes, a complete stall coming out from the side of Mind Goblin, but they could not stall long enough. Bright side, they got it sub 1 minute, and that is just insane considering when first point was capped, when second point was capped, they were both over 5 minutes. So we really see Mind Goblin, they have set their win condition, now they just have to follow through.
Yeah, this is the big thing is, can Mind Goblin keep the composure, because they've got a long way to go. If they really stall out in any place, if they find, say, Streets a particularly difficult faction, they don't have forever to get to the end. 0-1 almost doesn't need to win every fight. They just need to win enough, or be able to at least make Mind Goblin play the more hesitant game. That they just drag out this time for so long. If Mind Goblin had been able to actually stall it out in Streets phase, then I would have said this was going to be a very close match. But 0-1 is actually probably very comfortable with the fact that they feel confident that they can stop the full push and be able to level up our series.
Yeah, now you brought up a great point here, and I'm going to talk about this as well, that all 0-1 Esports has to do is force Mind Goblin into a slower, more defensive play style. That's pretty much all we've seen from them, right? We've seen them bringing it pretty slow. When they have the advantage, when they win a fight, they wait for 0-1 Esports to re-engage before they do anything. So if Mind Goblin chooses to stick with that comp they're so familiar and so comfortable with, where they just play slow, almost like they've got, rocks in their pockets, I agree that 0-1 Esports should be able to take Blizzard World here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Mind Goblin and going, where is their burst potential? Where is the speed play that they need to going to be coming out from? You got SXJ with those sticky bombs, yes, and the finishing beam, but that's one round of cooldown. Who else is coming through with big amounts of damage consistently to be able to push 0-1 back constantly? At this stage, 0-1 has got some really good healers. Between 1 and Navalera, they've been able to just keep everyone alive, and so you're going to be chipping down, and that's the slow gameplay that 0-1 is really looking for.
Right, absolutely. Now Apples is just getting into the back line, forced off to the pile drive, completely useless, no adaptive shields in sight, but instead, Straybor will be that first one to fall. SXJ picks up Goku at the very same moment, a 2-for-2 trade now. The Flyer missing on both sides, the Mercy on both sides gone as well, but Apples being missing is what is currently giving Mind Goblin that one-player advantage. One player turns into two, as one, ironically enough, will be the next one to fall there. Looks like it may have been cracked open a little bit longer than a minute off the clock, and it looks like Mind Goblin gets these cart moving with relative ease here, but instead that re-engagement will come through for just a moment. However, 0-1 Esports, this pulse bomb is going to have to be huge, and it looks like it very well may be, but no, it will be jumped out of the way. Johan lives another day. Yubi taking a lot of damage in the process, but now it's going to be Wex, who might be able to find that confirmation kill with a pulse bomb of their own onto Yubi. The DMAC coming through onto IMO97. One falls, Apple's gone, and SXJ, Juzo are just cleaning up the entirety of 0-1 Esports. Mind Goblin, they do cap a little shy of 5 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, here we see Wex being able to take this Tracer Jewel. This was a big play because Yubi was doing a lot of work there, gets the stick, in fact, to be able to go out. And 0-1 with a valiant recontest attempt. Apples went in for the initial stall, took a lot of attention, opened up some space for Yubi to do some damage, nearly gets the stick onto Johan. Doesn't get that quite, then starts taking the Jewel versus Wex. If Wex doesn't land that sticky bomb, Yubi's going to start putting in damage. As soon as they start looking at Yubi, they start Goku, and now Goku going to be looking to put in damage. Oh! Massive rocket cracking that Mercy across the stage and being able to take her out mid-air.
That was the cleanest thing I have ever seen from afar. It was so simple. I know it was so simple, but the concussion blast into, like the fadeaway shot into the concussion blast there was just chef's kiss, a highlight reel moment if I've ever seen one. Taking out a Farmer's or an Echo Mercy combo with only 2 rockets is just, I mean, what a way to start a fight.
Disgusting. And look at 0-1. They didn't manage to get the full hold, but they really don't need it with the amounts coming out now. They'll be dropping some in. Yubi takes out Juzo, vulnerable outside of that mech, and Apple's going to fall onto Johan. One on the other side going to fall as well. It's now the aerial jewel that might decide the rest of this fight.
You know, the scary thing to consider as well is we saw, absolutely no contest coming through from Mind Goblin when they were on the Streets phase. But now, 0-1 Esports, they're actually putting up a fight, and something as simple as this, something as simple as winning a single fight. You know, even if they lose the next couple of fights, they've burned down the timer so much further, 2 minutes even, than what we saw originally from O1 Esports on their offense.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, is Mind Goblin's looking strong. They're dropping the nano boost into this. Yoham going to be putting it up. But still, even if you win this fight, you're forcing a lot of resources out of Mind Goblin, and finally, Mind Goblin get it around the first corner on streets. They've only just won the fight, and they've burnt half their time.
Yeah, they've burned half their time, and we know how long the fight can be right before that second point. Cap 1 is going to miss a sleep dart. Unfortunately, might have to commit a nano. Scratch that, will commit a nano in an attempt to help the team win the fight. It looks like the Rockets are both going to miss onto Wex there, who gets to live a little bit longer. It's going to be some great action there. Goku will be the first one to fall. SXJ will confirm that kill. Stravor almost taken offline, but no, instead, the opposing Mercy might be the one to fall there, committing a Valkyrie in an attempt to stay alive. The bomb from Juzo picks up 2 as big as it needs to be. 2 more behind. It's going to be a 4 kill coming through with the help of Juzo. It turns into 5, and if Goku dies, it will be a complete and total team kill. I talked about how long that fight could have been, but instead it was not even close to a quick one. Or a long one,
I
sorry.
can't believe this. They actually managed to get that Streets phase much quicker than they were hoping. Wex sticking constantly onto the back of Yubi. That is not a place where a Tracer wants to do it. And being able to time it when you've got no recall is also another skill. Now Mind Goblin, 3 minutes. This is roughly about the amount of time they managed to stall out 0-1. So can they just be able to get through a little bit faster? They got a lot more ultimates on hand though for the next fight.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates at the ready for the next fight, like you said, and I'm very excited to see what ultimates they're going to choose to use here. IMO97 is going to be able to find Wex early on, so the Tracer gone. O1 Esports, they of course have the numbers advantage, and that just gets worse as Stravor will be the next one taken offline. Unfortunately, for the side of Mind Goblin, things are looking good in favor of O1 Esports, and O1 Esports, they need this map like they need their next breath as they want to tie the series back up 1-1, and that would confirm them a pretty aggressive victory moving forward, and they could just keep things tied up 1-1, basically a first or a best of 3 matchup. But now Mind Goblin, they've got 2.5 minutes left. They've got 4, nearly 5 ultimates at the ready, and they are about to start flowing. The nano onto the Echo coming through here might be able to find 1 elimination onto Goku. Gonna have to find a couple more. Stravor pops that Valkyrie as well, so 2 make it 3 ultimates down the drain as Melon does commit that minefield as well. Mind Goblin, they are desperate to win this one.
Oh, SXJ just being taken out by the pulse bomb at the end there is such a sad moment because he did so much work, starting it off with that kill onto Goku in the air, just going straight forward, landing the sticky bombs, using the focusing beam at the end, and Mind Goblin now coming in, they've still got that duplicate. Is there a good target? Being able to pick up someone like Imo on that Diva and be able to get those double Diva with double self-destructs, that could be a long period of time that they can control and create space around this payload to be able to get the last little bit, and they may have to do it going in here. Can they originally start off with a Tracer? Wex going to go down at the beginning of this, and Imo may have put end to this fight straight away.
Yeah, the fight ends before it can even begin. Yubi gets knocked into the Mega, but that Mega will not heal them up enough coming through, unfortunately enough. 1 gets the sleep dart kill onto SXJ. Very exciting. I didn't quite catch how that happened, but I can only assume it was going to be into the pit below. It's going to be a resurrection onto Yubi, so a full 6 coming out from O1 Esports once again. And just like Mind Goblin before, they are burning this timer down already. Only 73 seconds left.
Okay, 1 big fight now. Mind Goblin could take it. They dropped the pulse bomb at the beginning, and Nanobu's going to follow shortly after. 0-1, can they hold on right now?
Oh, looks like they might not be able to, but things will be tied up just long enough. It looks like they're going to luckily be able to come through. Goku picks up the kill onto Juzo there. SXJ does find Goku with a transformation Diva, but SXJ, even with the Diva, just can't do enough. 2 kills is not going to be enough to counter out the 4 that just were thrown onto your team. Definitely not a great look for Mind Goblin.
They needed to buy time for... Sorry. They needed to buy time for SXJ to be able to use that duplicate. Gets up the Diva, is able to shut down Goku, just flies into their face with that barrage and makes Goku effectively kill themselves, and then has the pulse bomb to go get the next kill onto the Mercy. But that's 2 kills for SXJ. You can't trade 4 kills in the time in the same time. So 0-1 being able to collapse fast enough, now just 17 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, now this is pretty much guaranteed. If Mind Goblin does cap at all, it's with 0 seconds on the clock. They have got to move this thing. I mean, what feels like miles with a spawn advantage being so aggressively in favor of the defense. Again, we're seeing some value come out from Mind Goblin, but it's that 2-for-2 trade. It's that 3-for-3 trade. Goku finds 1, Juzo finds another to counter it out. Now, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing the advantage in favor of O1 Esports. They've got the clock set on to 0, and it's going to be very aggressive, or very difficult rather, moving forward as that spawn advantage is so in favor of our defending team. Melon committing a minefield. That's going to open up a lot of space, but probably not enough. The pulse bomb gets eaten by IMO97 from Wex, keeping that Ana alive. Now the Nano Pharah in the sky should be the difference maker for this fight.
SXJ, how much work can you do as a soldier? How good is your tracking to kill this? And the rest of Mind Goblin going down yet again. O1 Esports, it dragged it out for so long. We talked about how they just needed to win this on a time basis and create that pressure. Mind Goblin almost forced into some crazy fights at the end. They couldn't take their time, couldn't get off the ultimate combos that they really wanted to. And it means O1 level up our series on their favorite home map, and with convincing fashion, managing to push it all the way to the end. Really nice play from them, and Mind Goblin just short. Still putting up an effort, but just short.
Absolutely. Like you said, Mind Goblin just falling short, very close, just toe-in-toe trying to keep this win alive for either team. But unfortunately, for the Mind Goblin, O1 Esports, they're going to tie things up 1-1 now. There will be a little bit of time for these teams to discuss comps and possible map choice on the side of Mind Goblin moving forward, as we're going to throw it to a super short break. Use this time, get up, stretch your legs, go get some water, do what you got to do, and we'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes for some more Overwatch. Welcome back, all you tanks, healers, and damage dealers. I hope you missed us just as much as we missed all of you during the break. We're going to be jumping right back in to map 3, which I don't actually know which one it is yet, but I know that it is going to be a payload map, an escort-style map, and I'm very excited to see what these teams bring to the table and how far advantaged this map will be.
It's Havana. We're going to see another round of the Havana hole, and I'm interested to see how the Farah plays into this, but more interested to see how these two teams approach it. You know,
yeah,
O1
absolutely.
Esports very happy to get aggressive, get in the face, but Mind Goblin very good at holding back. And so I think if O1 actually overextends on something like their defense, they may actually just give up a lot of that position straight away, give up a lot of the ultimate charge going into it. So Havana, if we learned anything from the previous rounds, it can be your choice of your pathing, your ability to maintain momentum, and your just general synergy as a team on how and when you want to prioritize team fights. We saw it where it was Rebrand and Progress managed to take a good fight and use an Earth Shatter to shut down, I think it was the Genji and the Wrecking Ball. But there wasn't anywhere near the payload. Right. They still lost progress on the payload, even though they won that little team fight.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what is brought to the table here, especially because you touched on this a little bit already. The Havana hold is that hold when you literally you're on the defending side, you just keep slamming yourself into the spawn door, stalling for as long as humanly possible. But with a Farah, that feels like a clunky choice. I feel that's difficult, right? I feel like you need the up close quarters damage dealers, the Mei, the Reinhardt, even Genji worked out a little bit, right? So we want to see how a Farah is going to play into that if we see a Farah at all. I'm curious what the action is going to be on that, but either way, there's a world where we don't see the Havana hold. We see double shield around the first long corner, and then you lose one fight, you lose the first point. Very dangerous strategy, but I've seen it pay off before. So these teams bring in their absolute 100% because one of these teams wants to take the lead here and put themselves on game point.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if we're going to actually see any swap-ups coming from Mind Goblin. They have certainly not been against the swap-ups. Some very interesting ones. I don't hope to see the Orisa and Diva combo again. I don't think that worked super well, but it's nice to see that Mind Goblin is at least willing to throw things around, try see what sticks. And they seem to be coming out with certain character stuff, like the Wex, McCree, the Wex, Soldier 76 that are coming out consistently good, and if they can keep leveraging players like that, I mean, we saw Yoham also coming out with the Baptiste consistently amazing. Let's see what they're going to throw into this, and whether they've got a little bit more of an idea about how they want to approach this. I mean, it is a level series.
Yeah, and I've got to bring it up right away. Goku's gone. We have subbed in Quartz for Goku on the side of on the side of O1 Esports. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out for, because this is going to be a big difference. Obviously, Goku, I feel, was kind of the path maker, the leader of kind of the pack, if you will, for the team. But now removing Goku from the fight entirely, that's going to force a lot of changes coming out here. That's going to force the team comps to change and possibly the momentum to change as well.
I don't know Quartz well at all. I must admit, Yubi I know is very proficient as the hit scan, or at least as a projectile, like he's going to be with his Hanzo now. This is a lot of damage, and I don't know if SXJ is going to want to stick to this Pharaoh for too long. I mean, we see Strayball already swapping off there. It doesn't even have a mercy pocket. SXJ probably, there we go. Definitely does not want to walk out against those two characters in a very different esports.
Oh, wow. Great dynamite from Court. So proving their worth already a little bit with the Ash. Going to be about 20% farm to that Bob, so already a fifth of the way there. And we're really curious to see they're going to be going for this slower hold, the double sniper style comp coming through here, but there's no dedicated shield to these snipers, so they're really going to have to be careful because there's no Ryan to stand in front of them, there's no Orisa to place the shield, and Sigma's, their shields are constantly on the move, so perhaps these snipers will have to be as well. I'm a huge fan of the rotation coming through right now, though, from Mind Goblin. They're going to be rotating up and around, forcing O1 Esports off the high ground.
This is the big thing, is that SXJ with that Wex with that McCree stun. There's a lot of CC coming out from
Right.
Mind Goblin. 0-1 doesn't actually have any sort of CC, so they can't afford to ever run towards Mind Goblin. They have to constantly be skirting around the outside and then trying to get enough time for Quartz and UB to do some damage, even one being able to get up some of those charge shots. Now we see Mind Goblin just taking control of this high ground, putting in damage across the edge, and with that dedicated shield from Melon, they can put in damage pretty safely. They've got someone trying to move the payload, but we now just see the two tanks just kind of stalling each other out and not really going anywhere. And I think 0-1's going to be happy about this.
Absolutely. I mean, we're getting close to half of the time bank already being gone, and 0-1, I feel they've hardly had to even work for it. I feel they've just kind of been playing a slower patience, and at the same time, Mind Goblin feels like they're doing the same thing. They're going for all these weird, elongated engagements and all these elongated stalls now. One has to commit Transcendence early. That might be the fight opener here for 0-1. They've got the Transcendence. They can deal a lot of damage. You don't have to worry about taking any, and yeah, just like that, Quartz goes in, and with the entirety of 0-1 Esports, they just complete and total team kill the entirety of Mind Goblin.
I mean, SXJ put up that wall, and it seemed like a case of more, you're not trapped in here with us, we're trapped in here with you. I think
Yes.
it's maybe the other way around there. But whatever, it was the fact that Mind Goblin was now actually right in the face, and if it wasn't for one's Transcendence, I think there could have been a very different story there.
I agree.
But 0-1 just built up enough time, wasted enough time, that they were able to go through. Now Yubi going to be throwing in that Dragon Strike, cutting off the team fight, but just pushes back Mind Goblin.
Yeah, the problem is they didn't catch anybody on the other side, so that is going to be very unfortunate coming through. I want to see what happens in terms of Mind Goblin engaging the fight. The Dragons kind of get in the way, but it doesn't really stall anything. Stalling has kind of been Mind Goblin's best ability here. I feel they've been stalling themselves, running a very slow pace, running slow engagements. Now, 80 seconds left on the clock. They've got to find an engagement. Did Bob just land on the high ground? Is Bob in the balcony? No, there he is. Okay. I thought he was up top.
Yeah, I think he might have actually been more useful up top there unless he was behind a sign, because the rest of Mind Goblin, SXJ just got in so close, but it was able to drop that Blizzard into the backline, and 0-1, while they have worked so hard at evading fights so far, this time there was nowhere for them to run, just get collapsed upon, and finally Mind Goblin managed to take a fight where they want to and be able to push that first payload.
Yeah, this is going to be hopefully, you know, if you're rooting for Mind Goblin here, you're going to hopefully see exactly what we saw earlier, where a team capped first point and then just absolutely rolled second, and we're able to find a victory there. But with the slow strat we've been seeing so far, I doubt that's going to be the case. A phenomenal Gravitic Flux, but an even bigger Immortality Field. Juzo picks up IMO 97 right off the back of things. Straybor even committing the beat to stay alive. A unique choice, one that may not pay off as Quartz finds Wex right at the end of it there. Juzo picks up Yubi, but Quartz just on a double rampage finds Yoham. Juzo picks up a 2-for-2 trade so far, but Juzo finding both of the supports may make this possible here once again. Looks like the Bob from Quartz might have to work a little bit harder. Straybor will fall to a Dynamite. Melon picks up that counter kill, and a solo shatter onto that Wrecking Ball gets things tied up. A tank falling once again on both sides. Mind Goblin so much used, and that card didn't move an inch.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that maybe that was an Earth Shatter just trying to secure the rest of this fight, just to stop Apples being able to stall out the payload, because that seems to have been Apple's main job. Just go sit in front of it and make them choose between running around after us and actually pushing the payload there. You can't just sit one person on the payload. Now Wex, though, are going to be hoping to secure a very nice fight early for Mind Goblin.
Oh, Wex might have, was not able to find anything with the high noon, but creates a little bit of space, gets around one of the more difficult corners, and now they've got 2 minutes to try and make it around just one more corner to cap that second point, and if we're lucky, we'll actually get to see the rest of Havana. We haven't had that opportunity yet, so I think that would be very nice, but it's going to be a very few ultimates at the ready. Valkyrie being popped early, we see the Blizzards ready, but SXJ just gets demolished. Melon just finds them in a hall, in a broom closet, and just sweeps them away, finding a triple kill off the back of it there. Wex picks up Apples, and this is looking like a great time here for Mind Goblin to cap. Absolutely nobody there to recontest except for Yubi. One good flashbang, but no! Wex gets a little bit overconfident, dashes right into a mine, and it looks like things are still going to work out in favor here of Mind Goblin as they will cap that second point.
Okay, first and foremost, I kind of wish one had managed to take that 1v2 there and actually stall out the payload. But the way Mind Goblin played that was actually very clever. They sent Melon up onto the bridge at the top there. He charged down one side. Then you had Juzo swapping around the other side, combined with SSJ. There was such a pincer movement into that side room that it gave Melon all the time to be able to close that distance, swing away with that hammer, build up this ultimate now, and secure the point. 0-1 still tried to threaten with Apples on the point, but but Mind Goblin cleaved into them so quickly, and now going to be throwing a very dangerous bomb over the top. Is going to take out Amo. In fact, going to take out a huge amount. The counter shadow comes in from Melon to try and keep the rest of his team alive, and it seems like they have actually done enough to at least be able to keep this payload moving.
I'm always so surprised when a Diva Bomb actually kills somebody. I can't help myself. It's always just such a surprise when there's actually value off one of those. But honestly, there was some great value there. IMO 97 went down. That gave Mind Goblin some great opportunity to keep moving forward. But now, here comes another huge Gravitic Flux. The counter high noon there. I love the idea, but couldn't pull the trigger fast enough. Had to be a little bit quicker than that. Might be able to find apples here, but the bomb just kind of, getting torn up by Johan there, not finding even a single elimination. Strayboard does drop the beat in an attempt to keep the team alive, and SXJ finds the freeze. No way! Able to pick that up. A phenomenal ult shot onto one. Yubi not far behind it. I mean, the Blizzard on cart. That's going to guarantee you a 3-point cap.
Yeah, there's no one who can stand around. Apples does manage to at least get the bombs out here, but now there's no one left to stand there. Everyone pushes on. What an amazing play. And that was all set up by SXJ at the end. They're flanking around, actually using the wall to get up to the high ground and threaten it, then goes low ground, gets the double pick, throws the Blizzard on the point, and Mind Goblin gets a 3-0. 0-1 suddenly under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, 0-1 all of a sudden. I mean, that felt like the exact opposite of Blizzard World, right? I feel like we really saw them struggle on Blizzard World, especially on the offense. But, I mean, here in Havana, they were just rolling through there. They didn't even have to really... I feel there were very few fights they had to really overcommit anything. It's just every time that you needed to use an ultimate, it was the exact correct moment, and they'd have another one for the next fight. They never felt like they were being hung out to dry. Now we're going to have to see what 0-1 Esports brings to the table here, because so far, that was... I mean, they still looked okay. It's not like they got completely steamrolled, but that was definitely a little rougher than they looked earlier.
I think one of the nicer things to watch from Mind Goblin there was their thought patterns. They were going, okay, 0-1's running from us. We need to take some good positioning. And it was very cleanly executed, very quickly executed, in fact. The fact that they were able to chase him in a very logical, safe manner to be able to go around. They had their awareness to go, okay, we're wasting time on this. Let's go back to the payload and just push it, make them actually eventually come to us. Whenever 0-1 started throwing ult combos, Mind Goblin reacted very nicely. You know, Yubi throws out the Dragon Strike, Mind Goblin split up, blast it out, come back together, take it. We see the Gravitic Flux coming out, Wex goes and pops his high noon, or Imo did that previously, and Juzo throws in a Diva Bomb into the back line. All of these little plays, all of these important choices from Mind Goblin has been what managed to get them all the way to the end. They made the right decision often enough that they just won enough fights, even without winning the fights, and now they're going to be taking this hold straight in the front of the gates.
Oh, a very successful Havana hold already, and I've got to say I'm super confused why you would swap out Goku just to have the sub also play Pharah. That really does not make a lot of sense to me, but perhaps this is a move of desperation. Perhaps they're thinking, oh, the Pharah worked earlier, why don't we try it again here? But right now, this is the most successful Havana hold that we have seen all day. One just pick up Johan, so that is a great kind of first domino to fall, especially with Strayboard being the next to go, but a bit of a panic pause coming through here. Not a panic pause, excuse me. A bit of a quick pause there is Mind Goblin looking very good, but just as things turn back in favor of 0-1, a pause will come through. I'm not quite sure why. I'm sure we'll find out, but either way, this is interesting, as I think we've seen already about a minute burned off the clock.
I think the big thing now is both of the supports have fallen. That's the big one.
Absolutely.
Mind Goblin is going to struggle to sustain their Havana hold.
I'm not sure they can.
I don't think you can. You know, there's no like really self-sustaining tanks. There's not even. I mean, Devo's a little bit mobile, but it's not exactly like you're a Hamid constantly running back and forth to health packs. You don't have a Sombra to try and retreat to a hacked up health pack. You don't have a Roadhog that can just constantly self-heal. I mean, you don't even have a Mei. I think they got a Mei, the one hero that can self-sustain a little bit. Not exactly what you're wanting, and so it is going to be Mind Goblin now just backing up a little bit, realizing that they've reached their limits, and 0-1 pushes forward very confidently in this, cleans up the rest of the fight, and can start the payload moving.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be, like I said, kind of the first domino to fall was losing your one support, and then you immediately lost the other. Winning a 4v6 with no supports is difficult, if not impossible, at such a high level as this one. Now, over a minute burned off the clock, and the cart not even close to that first point. The issue here, I think, is going to be the re-engage, the recontest from Mind Goblin. They're going to have to get in. They're going to have to find their footing early if they want to stall this, because if they keep losing people early, if they keep getting 1-2 picked early in the fight, they're not going to be able to find their recontest.
Interesting choice of the high ground now. Mind Goblin actually just going towards the payload, and O1 give it up for free, basically. Rather take that aggressive positioning. The problem is if they lose anyone, there's now going to be a split about how you re-engage this. Now you got this crossfire angle coming in here. O1 very comfortable. I mean, you got Juzo on the low ground, making sure the payload doesn't push. O1 desperately trying to force them off now with the Dragon Strike, but the movements from Mind Goblin just constantly keeping them in safe positions.
Yeah, the Dragons was smart, but they needed like immediate follow-up. They needed the team underneath to just collapse on them when they fell. Instead, Mind Goblin just got to fall completely for free. So I'm not a huge fan of kind of what ended the second half of that strategy, if you will. And wow, Juzo just gets absolutely melted there. Has to commit the bomb just to get that mech back alive. So definitely unfortunate to see coming through there. That might be an ultimate they're going to want back on the side of Mind Goblin. But I've got to say, they are just melting this timer right now. They are already over 2 minutes in, getting close to 3 here. SXJ has a blizzard to stall out even longer. This is just best case scenario for Mind Goblin here.
This is a good opportunity for O1 though. They managed to lift it up and pin them in the room, but they've still got to run into a blizzard. Weck's going to be also coming out with this high noon. Mind Goblin is playing one of the best tactical games about playing around natural cover and using their ultimates, using the May walls, using whatever they've got to be able to extend the amount of time it's going to take O1 to kill them. O1 don't even, after throwing everything into that, still don't win this. Mind Goblin's looking on the verge of a full hold here.
Yeah, I mean, they are really looking at a full hold here on Havana. It would be the first one that we've seen today. And I want to talk about, you know, what I personally believe, and I think a lot of people would agree, is that what separates a good versus great team is how well you can use the natural cover of the game. And I mean, Mind Goblin, they are giving us an absolute masterclass on how to do that right now. Their natural cover, their natural rotations have been nothing short of, I might almost say, perfect. I mean, they are looking very strong here, and all of a sudden they're looking even stronger as one is eliminated. Quartz does pick up Yoham there, so he's able to get something lined up, but the Mercy falls. The Sigma pinned away, gonna get caught out in the corner, immediately dismissed. Only 20 seconds left on the clock. 2, nearly 4 ultimates at the ready for Mind Goblin here. Maybe 1 if they're lucky on the side of O1 Esports.
Yeah. And what I love about this Mind Goblin is most people, when they're trying to climb ranks in Overwatch, they're going, ooh, I need to be using my abilities better. I need to be able to hit more actions per minute. I need to be able to hit shots better. Mind Goblin's just going, no, you don't. You just need to be able to use them at the right time.
Oh,
now
man.
they throw out some great ultimates. Melon going to be able to pick up a triple kill. Then the 4 and the last 2 picked up by Wex.
Oh, wow. Just wow. Melon with the quad kill at the end. The charge around the wall into the Mercy. This is a great flame strike as well. Right over top, just finds the Ash. And Wex picking up 2 in the back line. I mean, that is just everything that Mind Goblin needed and more. Absolutely phenomenal gameplay there. They really kicked it into high gear here, and all of a sudden they are up 2-1 on the series. They are 1 map away from winning here today, and from a series that I'll say started off a little bit shaky for them, right? They were able to win, then Blizzard World gets a little bit mixed up. They end up losing it, but wow, I mean, that is easily the strongest I might say we have seen any team today.
Yeah. You know, normally when we talk about the strength of the team, we're talking about, oh, they're making amazing plays. Oh, you know, Goku's looking really strong because he's hitting his mid-air rockets. Oh, I'm special from earlier is looking really strong, being able to get 3 or 4 man grabs or be able to turn around, you know, hit those secondary fire shots. That's what we normally look at when we're judging how strong a team is. But Mind Goblin has changed the game here. They have completely changed up how O1's going to be. I mean, O1 is normally a case of we play this one set comp. And yes, they swapped out Goku for Quartz now. But we play this one comp and we know how we want to play it. And we play it and we move around and we just adapt our one comp to many situations. Mind Goblin's going, we're just going to take every situation and react exactly the right way. Come run at us, we're going to give you some space. Oh, run away, we're going to chase you up to a point. I mean, besides that one fight where one managed to get off the beautiful Transcendence and turn it very cleanly on O1, none of the fights really look to go 100% the way of O1, either on attack or defense.
Yeah, and you know, I definitely want to say that, of course, there's people that will, like, be better. I'm not saying Goku is the be-all, end-all of Pharahs, but to have a Pharah specialist just to swap them out and then have the sub play Pharah felt really weird to me. That felt a little clunky. Maybe, like I said, it was just that idea of, oh, Pharah worked earlier, let's try it again. But you know, maybe they're not going to make that same mistake here. I've got to say, Quartz on the Ash was looking very strong, very clean when they were given the opportunity to shoot people. But with the way Mind Goblin was playing, I mean, Mind Goblin is almost the perfect name because they were in the minds of O1 Esports. They were in their brains, just constantly running around, hiding behind all that natural cover, and the Ash couldn't find value. That is nothing on the shoulder of Quartz of, oh, being a bad Ashe. It's on the fact that most of the time there were no targets to shoot. Mind Goblin wouldn't show their faces until they were confident they were about to engage a fight. And I think that really is the reason they took Havana away so convincingly.
Yeah. You know, weirdly enough, where O1 actually does have the fourth DPS now on their roster, being PvPX, that's a Junkrat main. And Junkrat, weirdly enough, may have actually been more successful there because, like you say, who was the Ashe and the Hansa supposed to shoot? You were either hitting brick walls, which Mind Goblin was able to hold out behind, they were just hiding constantly, or you were hitting the center of Orion Shield, who was just giving space for Wex and the other DPS to fire back. SXJ doing a great job. SXJ was plinking some heads with the May secondary fire. SXJ setting up extra walls, so every time you tried to flank a little bit around Mind Goblin, there was now an extra wall, an extra bit of cover that they can work through. And then you try and peel on top of them. Johan throws down the Immortality Field and goes, no, this is our last line of defense. You think you've gotten through the last 4 up to a point. O1 had to try and find something, and they're going to be swapping Goku in back for our next map here. Interested to see which one it's going to be. Do you have a favorite Assault map?
I would say Assault is my least favorite game mode in the game. My least favorite map type. But going off of pure aesthetics, I like Hanamura a lot. Hanamura, I think it's very pretty. I like it a lot. And going off of gameplay, though, Volskaya Industries feels almost inevitable here. I feel like a lot of teams, especially at this higher rank, they really like to go toward Volskaya Industries. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Putting Goku back in there's a lot of open space for a Pharah. There's a lot of flanks. There's a lot of just high places for that Pharah to be and just create general chaos, where I feel on a lot of other control maps, you don't get that same opportunity. So Volskaya may show its head here.
Volskaya tends to be the map I think of whenever you think of a para-favored TCP. Yeah, guaranteed. I mean, I would love to see a couple of the ones, as long as it's not Paris or Horizon. But
are we even allowed to pick those? Is that even, are players allowed to pick
Thankfully
those?
not. It's not in our pool, so we're not going to be seeing Paris or Horizon. Not that I think anyone would choose them anyway, unless for some reason you're a team that has specialized that you just go and scrim that every single time.
That would be quite surprising.
If you were one of those teams. Hypothetically, hypothetically, it could happen. It looks like we are going to be going to Volskaya, just like you said. You called it, Septilence. What an amazing caster, guys. Give some love to Septilence. We're going to be going to Volskaya. This is going to be able to favor maybe Goku coming back into the team. Not sure why I jumped after that previous one, but Mind Goblin just a couple of fights away from being able to actually take this entire series.
Yeah, I mean, they're theoretically, 8 minutes away, 10 minutes away from winning this series. All they have to do is play just as well as they did on Havana. Now, of course, the interesting thing about Havana versus Volskaya Industries is I feel Volskaya generally has a lot less close quarters natural cover. I feel like to get from one to another, you've really got to put yourself out in the open for at least a couple of seconds. And especially with a Pharah, those couple of seconds could be just enough for this team to capitalize. So I think O1 Esports, as long as Goku is playing well, as long as Apples continues to be just the general nuisance they have been able to be, I do think there's a great opportunity for O1 Esports to take Volskaya away and push that coveted map 5.
And if you look, Mind Goblin's not going to have anywhere to hide this time.
Right.
They really aren't. I mean,
especially
there aren't
on the
any
first
readiness. Not on the first point, at least. Havana actually is one of those maps that I think Mind Goblins would have preferred because there is a lot more natural cover. There's a lot more walls you could play around. Here, your best option is kind of tuck into an archway, in which case you're just getting Pharah rockets straight on you. All the splash damage going to be able to hit onto you. I'm not sure how Mind Goblin's going to adapt. They've done such a good job of adapting both their team comps and their playstyles, but I don't know how much you have to run at this stage. Maybe it's just time to stand and turn and fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not a bad consideration. Maybe they just need to turn and fight. Perhaps we might see Wex back on the DPS, or not on the DPS, excuse me, on the hit scan DPS, because we saw that on Lijiang Tower. We saw the Soldier 76 for a minute, and I felt that was giving a decent competition to the Pharah, maybe making things a little bit shakier, but only time will tell, my friend. We will find out in just a couple of seconds here. Oh, I was close. SXJ was on the Soldier for a second, but did swap to that Pharah, so it'll be that sky battle once again, that dogfight.
All right, what do you feel about the possibility of us getting a Sombra coming out? Always have those two mixed up. Sombra versus these players. I worry about being able to be burst down from Wex if he gets off the flashbang. But other than that, if Goku's able to put in enough damage to stall them back for a bit and give Yubi the time to win out that EMP fight, it could open up 0-1. But again, is this a consistent enough ultimate on defense?
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be really hard to utilize the Sombra here on defense. You're going to get great value hacking the health packs. You're going to get great value finding the hacks, probably onto the tanks, maybe the Echo as well. But so far, I mean, the damage is where it's really going to come down to. You're going to rely on the rest of your team to make up for the damage that Sombra often does not provide. And now we're going to have to see, is that going to really damage this team? Yubi, I mean, what is that? Sub 10 health. They're definitely got Flash Fan. I saw it. Oh, Goku with a great shot onto SXJ, but that is already a 1-to-1 trade as Apples has fallen. So you've lost that tank. You're going to have to make up for it. Maybe finding one more elimination to really guarantee that you have the numbers advantage once again, but a full tick will come through in favor of Mind Goblin here. They're getting danger close to a second one, and honestly, there is just not much that can be done right now, especially as Wex puts one away with a phenomenal headshot. They're only 7% short of a high noon, but can't get too cocky with that. Farah just farming the high ground above you. Misses. Wow. The entirety of the fan uses the high noon for the reload. I'm a huge fan of that strategy there. If they can find the Wrecking Ball again, which they will, I think that Mind Goblin's already got this point on lock.
Okay, this is an interesting way to do it. Mind Goblin, can they just clear out the last little bit? The flashbang not going to be able to find it. Goku going to go down. Navarella going to be able to go down just after that. And weirdly enough, we talked about this combination of the Orisa and Diva previously when they tried it on Blizzard World. I didn't like it then. But here, with there being no natural cover on the point, I actually don't mind it. You've got Juzo to be able to take out the big burst damage from something like Goku, to be able to buy that shield a couple more seconds. You've got Melon giving yourself very static cover, means you can walk onto the point and then fire outwards from it while constantly ticking up. And 0-1 now sitting on the second point. Goku going to be able to use that barrage though to be able to stop the aggression from Mind Goblin. And it seems like Mind Goblin just going to have to take a backseat and try again on the next round.
That was a very interesting barrage. I feel Afara was very high up, and maybe she was okay being that high because you commit the nano as well, so you've got that guaranteed damage boost. But that's definitely a weird commit to the ultimates. You only use 2 ultimates to win a fight, so no matter how weird it was, it worked, and that's exactly what O1 Esports needed, especially with how quickly that first point was capped. 4.5 minutes remain. 4 ultimates at the ready here on both sides. This fight, honestly, it's going to come down to how well these ultimates are utilized.
And you cycle it enough. Are you going to be dropping the EMP plus a couple of things? When I look at this, maybe the EMP plus self-destruct is all you really need, as long as you're timing it right. It's going to be up to see if they can get one here. Yubi actually going to go for the hack straight away onto Sid, bro. And what a nice way to start this off. SXJ going to fall straight afterwards, and maybe not even an ultimate needed here for 0-1 in this, allowing one to build up 50%. The stun in midair, and Apples, could you get out in time here? Yeah.
Melon committing Supercharger, I'm not a huge fan of that. That seems like maybe a bit of a panic ultimate, as they felt the Wrecking Ball was behind them, the Diva was nearby, and the Farah was just firing pot shots, but they resurrect their McCree. Supercharger down the drain there, the only ultimate used in that engagement. We were getting so close to an ult apocalypse, almost all 12 ults online, but now here they come, a 3-man EMP. Disrupts the high noon, a great minefield as well. Might find Wex out here instead. We'll pick up Juzo, the bomb comes out. We'll find one, but it's traded immediately there for IMO's bomb. Able to pick up Wex, and DPS now down on both sides. IMO 97 picking up SXJ, the Diva making all the difference here in this fight. 3.5 minutes remain. O1 Esports, they are looking very strong here, the strongest they've looked in a while.
Okay, that was way too expensive for 0-1 though.
I agree.
Way too expensive. You pulled out both the Resurrect and the Supercharger from Mind Goblin, and granted, like let's be fair, as casters, it's way easier to sit back and look with all the numbers everywhere. Very pretty. One dropped the Nano Boost, granted up to 40% now. Navalera dropped out that Valkyrie. IMO dropped out the Self-Destruct. They also threw the EMP into what effectively was a team fight that was won. Mind Goblin has now. If they can push now, they could win this point completely.
But they might not be able to push it all. As Wex gets caught out immediately by Yubi. SXJ still going to commit the transformation here. Oh my goodness, stun into hack, into sleep, just cannot catch a break. Forced out of that transformation straight away there. Goku gets that kind of vengeance kill, throwing that ultimate down the drain, a 1-for-1 trade. Yubi does fall, so for a very brief second there's an advantage, but Juzo taken offline by Goku now. O1 Esports, they are finding great opportunities. They have burned over half the time bank, and I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous here for Mind Goblin.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the fact that they're really struggling to push forward to the point. They're actually struggling to get to the fight without losing someone. Wex died before anything started, and like you said, that was their one opportunity. I really feel like that may have been the best opportunity for Mind Goblin in the game. 0-1 able to get the picks out at the beginning, the hacks from Yubi. Now you've got an EMP backup, and yet again, you can cycle these ultimates as long as you want if you're 0-1 esports. Mind Goblin just needs to get there safely as a team and then try to take a fight, but now it's too late. EMP's out.
I was just about to say, if you don't lose anybody, there's a great opportunity to turn this fight around, and then immediately 3 people died. So that's definitely not going to be what you want to see on the side of Mind Goblin here. I feel there really hasn't been a fight in about 3 minutes. It has been Mind Goblin walking in and 0-1 Esports just sending them express mail back to spawn.
You can see why 0-1 has chosen this map. Let's be fair. I mean, this is a great EMP, very heads-up play, being able to get up there. And there's poor Mercy, bro. Strayball. Just constantly being targeted there, and it's just good target prioritization. 0-1 understands how they need to win this map, and they're doing very well. If Mind Goblin even gets 1 tick here, it's going to have to come through some big play, especially considering the resources they're going to be playing into right now. The stick.
Misses the stick, but still confirms the kill. That is this is the golden moment, if you will. 2 eliminations here in favor of Mind Goblin. They have to be so careful because Melon already, less than half health, close to critical condition, commits the minefield. There's 1 tick. Do we see 1 more? The transformation onto the Diva. No Somber around to hack this time. You might be able to find some damage. Wex again picks up 1 straight out of spawn. The Pharmacy just being forced away. SXJ almost has the bomb, might use it, but can't find the damage yet. Melon will pick up IMO with a great mind place there underneath the Diva bomb. Yubi finds 1, Apples finds another. The second tick, so close, but not quite coming through yet. Straybor finds the restoration on the Yoham. The support lineup on the side of Mind Goblin will be back in full swing. Things are looking good here. This is the Overwatch factor all over again, waiting until the very last moment to remember how to play the game. Goku, though, finds Straybor in a crucial moment because Mercy is gone, and that almost guarantees they will not find that 3rd tick here without some serious plays. A great shot onto 1, finding another, and Goku is about to tear Mind Goblin apart once again.
Oh, 0-1 left it right to the end there, and they nearly got it as well. Mind Goblin doing such a good job, especially shout out Wex and SXJ for being able to get onto the back line. They managed to take out 1 at the beginning of the fight. Then Navalera, the Mercy, went to go and resurrect 1, which took away your healing for a long amount of time. Then 1 goes down again. That was like 15 seconds of Mind Goblin actually just being able to whittle away as much of 0-1 as possible. But this back play from Goku, being able to utilize this burst damage and then turn around the fight very quickly, meant 0-1 Esports able to hold it to 87.9%. Still, Mind Goblin getting a lot out of that, and 0-1 maybe would have wanted to hold it with a little bit more of a margin than that.
Absolutely, and I want to say I'm excited that they landed on 87.9 because that means the map cannot be drawn, and that is my least favorite thing about 2 CP maps is, of course, that they can be drawn, and then we can go through all of this effort just for no team to walk away with a victory. But now a win condition has been set. The cards are on the table, and 0-1 Esports, they are 1 point and 87% away from winning this map and forcing us to a map 5.
Yeah. Mind Goblin has a very clear strategy. They're going to sit on this high ground. They got the Soldier to reinforce with the Bionic Grenade. They're going to sit behind Melon's shield. SXJ is going to poke out. Juzo is going to shut down any big damage coming in there. Strayball to work with SXJ. And Yoham to mean that there is no running at Mind Goblin. So what does 0-1 do? They're going to stay around, maybe get some damage in from above. I don't think they're going to be able to really contest the point and ignore the people on the high ground like Mind Goblin did in the first round. But so they're going to have to take a fight that maybe Mind Goblin's going to be comfortably set up for.
Yeah, I always forget how low the invisible ceiling is on Full Sky Industries, and it's definitely still pretty high, higher than some of the maps have, but certainly maybe not as high as Goku might want, just kind of going for pot shots, but a couple of great eats from Juzo there, keeping things lined up, though. Risa taking a lot of damage, getting back around the corner. Wex able to deal a lot of damage again to Apples. We're seeing a lot of tank trades back and forth, as tanks are often the easiest targets to hit, having the largest bodies in the game. It's going to be a lot of damage coming out from the side of Goku there, picks up Straybor, so that Angel had her rings ripped off and sent back to spawn. SXJ not far behind. Wex, with the, Helix Rocket self-kill there. Unfortunately, not what you want to see when you're trying to defend the point. Melon Orisa, the horse, going to get sent back to the glue factory here, and now Yoham not far behind. I mean, that's just about as quickly as we have seen from Mind Goblin already. And Apples, he is going for the immediate 2nd point cap.
Boss goes back to the glue factory. That's beautiful, man. That's a wonderful way to explain how well O1 took that fight. And Mind Goblin, not 100% sure. Maybe I misread the team comp, but they kind of seem to be standing out in the open there. I would have liked to have seen them actually group up on the high ground where they could defend. Goku, who was able to put shots in towards SXJ, who was kind of left alone there. Melon was left on the low ground, and while Juzo and SXJ was trying work there, Goku gonna launch out straight away, and it looks like O1 want to take this in their first push.
That wasn't even like impressive. I just didn't see a rocket, and then all of a sudden Yoham died, so I was super confused. But now, I mean, I was just about to say this was going to be a Herculean task here on the side of Mind Goblin, but we may not even get to see an attempt at the task as they are just being ripped apart. But Yoham, the bloodthirsty support from earlier, how thirsty are you now, my friend? Able to find the Farmercy double kill. The double elimination comes through. Wex might be able to find the Tracer, but the damage has almost been done. That first tick just barely going to get caught out. The DPS line from Mind Goblin, with the help of Yoham, able to stave off the entirety of O1 Esports for just a little bit longer. Still 5 minutes remain on the clock.
5 minutes is a long time, and when you look at the ultimates that is going to come out, one of these could effectively change the fight. You get a good barrage, you get a good self-destruct. That could really help to turn things around. Melon going to be able to at least use that supercharger and be able to fight out the next fight. And so it's going to have to be up to the initiation. Apple's very comfortable. You can see the rollouts that he's got here have a certain path towards it. And the Pulse Bomb at least shut down by the Immortality Field. Still Mind Goblin looking okay on the defense.
Yeah, the Supercharger, the Bongo, just immediately taken offline there. Goku gets another great shot onto SXJ. Might, no, will find the Mercy, but trades themselves out. So 2-for-1 trade, definitely good, but with such an aggressive spawn advantage. Oh, scratch that. The Resurrection comes through. It is now a 2-for-0 trade, and the Bomb will pick up no one. But at this point, I think O1 Esports has got this fight in the bag. Orisa can only stand there long enough before being dismissed. Her shield is not quite invincible like it needs to be. Now immediately the transformation from SXJ comes through out of the Diva, but probably going to be forced out before that bomb can make an appearance. Yes, will be forced out. SXJ taken off by Goku once again. Melon swapping onto Roadhog. A bit of a unique choice, probably just going for that sustainability of that take a breather. Not only does it heal, I think 250 health, but there's also a 25% damage reduction. Finds the kill out of the Mercy, but cannot find anything else. Traded out by Goku there. Wex picks up Yubi with the headshot, but another nano barrage from Goku here, just cleaning up the survivors on the side of Mind Goblin.
All right, let's see if what is Mind Goblin going to do? Are they even going to be able to consistently put people out? Like Juzo's now swapped, Melon's gone onto the Diva to try and stall this out. Wex desperately just wants to find space for the Sign-In. He's going to come around the side, gets a defense matrix straight to the face, does at least manage to get out the D-Mech. Putting in damage on the side, may have at least distracted O1 for a little bit. Goodbye, bumped off the edge. Goku just constantly being around this ever-present threat, taking out any person who runs onto it. And as the last person steps off, Mind Goblin going to be letting it go, and O1 able to level out the series.
And we are tied all the way up here, 2-2. We have gone from what looks like such a convincing series on both sides to a tied game. And if I'm not mistaken, we are going to go back to where it all began. Not exactly the same map, but the same map type. I believe we're going to be going to Control. Is that correct?
Indeed, we are going back to a Control to finalize this out between these two teams. And I got to ask, at the end there, did you see the power of that nano-boosted, damage-boosted Pharah being able to take out an Echo one shot? Then you take out a Mercy, one shot. Instantly, you've deleted that aerial presence. You've now got free reign to be able to hammer down damage onto the ground. Just such a good combo, man. Such an underrated combo.
Absolutely. Goku just doing a great job there, coming back in, taking a one map break, you know, cracking their knuckles, waiting to get back into the swing of things. But before we can do that, we are going to be jumping to another short break, so we'll be give the players a minute to discuss comms, maybe get something to drink, and I suggest all of you do that as well. Go drink some water, go use the restroom, get up, stretch your legs, do what you gotta do, but no matter what you do, be right back here in about, I think, 7 minutes. So we'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes with more, 3 minutes, I don't know how to count, I talk about video games for a living. Don't go far, more Overwatch coming at you in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, all you tanks, healers, and damage dealers. I hope you enjoyed that break, and I immediately want to give a correction before I do that. I'm still Sagittal and Storm by the wonderful Altruism, and that correction is this 5th map does not have to be Control. That was something that I misunderstood. They can choose any, approved map, so no Paris or Horizon or anything, but they can choose any unplayed map that we have seen so far of any map type. So that adds like a whole new layer to this map 5 here.
And considering this is now Mind Goblin's pick, I think there's going to be some very clear ones that you want to stay away from.
Absolutely.
They did very well. I feel like King of the Hill or Control Point is the most temperamental of it. I really think that one could go either way. Do you think Mind Goblin has a particular map type other than that they're going to feel comfortable on?
If we're going off what we've seen today, Escort was very clearly their strongest showing of a team, right? They truly came out super strong. They full held on Havana, so maybe... I agree we're probably going to see King of the Hill because that just feels like what most teams as a whole would probably choose. But if they do go something else, I think it might be like Havana. That feels like a map they might choose coming through. But, I like I said, probably King of the Hill here.
Yeah, I would be interested. I mean, because that was such a definite
Wait, did
difference.
I say Havana?
I mean, they pushed the entire way through and then full health.
I meant to say Dorado. I don't know if I said Dorado, but that's what I meant to say.
You said Havana, but we
yeah, okay. I meant
played
Dorado.
Havana, so something like Havana.
Whatever,
definitely.
yeah. But either way, I'm excited to see what's brought to the table. I think you made a great observation that, if I'm not mistaken, Control was 99 to 99 at least once. I mean, we saw it very close, very back and forth. So if they do choose that one, like you said, truly goes either way. But I think if we do see an Escort map, I think that's where Mind Goblin gets to almost confirm their victory, right? They get to choose a map style they have shown they are very strong at.
Whether that's going to be the way they want to do it, maybe they've got a particular map. Maybe it's not even about map type. Maybe they're going, where somewhere like Pharaoh struggles? Junkertown. Let's put them out in the wide open air and then snipe them down from there. Something like that might just be a particular difference maker. Maybe SXJ loves playing the Mei, and so we're going to go to something like Hanamura just because we can utilize that Mei, that one specific character, or that very mobile team comp, something like that is able to just crack the thing. I must admit, if I was Mind Goblin, I'd be very happy to have the map picked now because you can push O1 right out of their comfort zone.
Oh, and I accidentally called it. You said, "Oh, you're gonna play map. You're gonna play a good map for Mei," and I will let you know in just a second that it will be. Actually, I'll say it, my favorite map in the entire game. I love this map, so it's going to be King's Row making an appearance. I'm curious. I think you've hit the nail on the head. SXJ is 100% bringing that Mei to the table. In Goku, we might see Farah on 1st and 3rd point, but the Streets phase. I mean, Farah is really gonna struggle there. I think there's really nowhere to hide when you're up in the air on Streets.
You make it sound like it's gonna change halfway through.
You got me there.
Come on,
you got me there.
He's gonna play it in the Streets phase. Whether he gets value out of it or not, we're gonna still see. But and I think this is actually gonna be probably the best test of these two teams and which one is gonna be the better team. I mean, let's be fair. King's Row is the ubiquitous map of Overwatch in the world. Everyone plays and scrims and knows every intricate detail about how they want to approach King's Row. So this is going to be the best reflection about which team can execute best in your 5th game. Fatigue starting to come in, team organization starting to come in. Do you have a favorite here?
This is gonna be interesting. We've seen both teams really kind of put all their cards on the table. We've seen them at their best, and I won't say we've seen them at their worst, but we've obviously seen them lose some maps, right? We're tied up 2-2 here, so we've seen them when they're falling just a little bit short of where they want to be. King's Row, I feel, is so unique to any other map that we played today, but the way that Blizzard World was taken in favor of O1 Esports, this is the same map type, right? So initially, I want to give them that mild advantage, but again, the way we just saw Volskaya Industries play out, they're coming off the lion's share of the momentum. So I really do think O1 Esports might take the win here on King's Row.
They've definitely got the momentum coming through here. They don't have the map choice. Maybe Mind Goblin has something special up for grabs. I think there's only one thing that we can for sure say that we don't want to see. A repeat of Numbani. Please, guys, someone capture the 1st point. Anyone, I don't care at this stage, but someone capture it because it would be a travesty, a real travesty to not see this go as far as possible. I mean, we're here to see as much Overwatch. Let's take this down to the wire. We still haven't seen anyone actually do a reset on any of the maps yet, this might be a map that we actually see both teams being able to push the whole way, in fact.
Yeah, that's a great point. We haven't seen anybody take extra rounds into any map so far. It has just been very close victories the normal way. Nobody has forced an extra round of any means. We almost saw it on Blizzard World. We almost saw it on Numbani, but we are not going to be seeing any of that today. So, I mean, maybe that's where the streak is broken. Kings Row might be the first one where we see these teams really just go all the way to the wire.
Wouldn't that be fitting for Game 5? I mean, you guys have been with us for a couple of hours now. I hope you have really settled in. Shout out in chat, guys. You've got to give us your predictions. We have seen everything that these teams have to offer. You're getting to see them on the maps. You probably know super well. Let us know. Who do you believe is going to come out on top of this? And are we going to go all the way to basically overtime and pushing in the last map? Are these teams going to fight it out to the end? I don't know. Personally, when I play this much Overwatch, I start to have the fatigue going through, and you start to wonder, is Goku going to hit those clean rockets? Is Wex going to be able to hit the headshots that has carried his team through so much? Are the decision-making going to be just as crisp, or are you going to have someone who lets it go for half a second?
A half a second at the end of the day can make all the difference, right? We've seen that a couple of times where it's going to be... I think you've brought up a great point. Hold on, let me jump back for a second. That physical fatigue as well as the mental fatigue. We're how many hours deep into this series now? I mean, these players have been bringing their absolute 110%. They want to win this game. They want to prove that they are a name to be feared. And so far, we're going to come down and see which of those teams can just bring it a little bit more here in map 5, Kings Row. And the interesting thing about this is if Kings Row is brought to a tie, which I just found out a moment ago, the next map has to be Control or Escort, so maps that cannot be tied.
Ooh, okay, so I don't think we're going to go to a tie. I'm gonna have that much faith that I think we're going to have a decisive winner here. It might go to a second round, but I think we're going to get a winner. I think these teams have figured it out well enough. I think it's going to take a key moment. I don't know if it's going to be a sweep one way or another. It all depends on how well Mind Goblin has their tricks up their sleeve here. We've talked about them getting into the mind of O1 Esports before, whether they're going to be able to do it. Goku and Yubi just messing us around. I don't believe you for a second.
I'd be surprised to see them so aggressively swap roles like that. That would be quite entertaining to say the least. Maybe they're going to do what I always call, I call it the Kings Row Widow, because we see it sometimes. You just peek out the door, go for a shot, you don't find it and swap. That's something that we actually see on a couple of maps. We saw it on Havana earlier today. We always see it on Kings Row. That's why I call it the Kings Row Widow. But I have to agree, there's no shot Goku just hangs out on Widowmaker here.
Can you imagine being that confident yourself that it's like, Yubi, I know you're a hit scan player, but I'm going to play you for like 10 seconds. I'm going to click 3 of the heads and then you can have it back. Just, you can take your role. I just want to do the main impactful work. Then we're going to see Yubi going onto this Ashe, just being able to put in damage and make sure that the front-facing shield of Melon going to be coming out. SXJ also going to be coming out on that Mei. We called it from the beginning. This is what defines Kings Row for so many teams. It's going to be up to whether you can get those walls up. Wex going to be opening up that kill bank for us, though.
Oh, wow, there it is. The Ashe and the Mercy to boot. The Diva just barely going to be able to make it up. And now SXJ's got to be careful because Goku still alive, still high in the sky, and Straybor will be the first one to find that out, paying the price of their life. Of course, luckily enough, Lucio, fastest player to return to the team. So you're only down 1 for, I don't know, maybe 6 seconds, not including the spawn, of course, is depending on how much Straybor has practiced their Lucio rollouts,
Yeah. And I mean, look at how Mind Goblin played that. They were able to get the pick, then they pushed forward as a team, collapsed on whoever pushed over the wall. Now they've got back, they're staying out of these direct rockets, just holding up, putting in damage where they can. And as soon as they get an opportunity, they'll come forward. O1 needs to pin them in this corner and keep that pressure on, though, if they want to take this out. Apple's also setting up into a good position.
Yeah, and I definitely want to say, I don't think either of us have said this. I want to say that I genuinely think that mechanically speaking and just team coordination, I believe Mind Goblin is the stronger team. When we see them push and coordinate and move as a team, where O1 Esport, they feel more like your traditional team that relies on DPS to get openings, right? And then they push it off the back, where Mind Goblin, they consistently move in just as a unit, as a team. They're not relying on one person to carry. And again, I think that's what separates the goods from the grades. And here we go. I mean, what did I say? We're going to be seeing O1 Esports relying on the DPS to find an opening. Goku finds one, gets traded out, but it looks like it's going to be Yubi who finds a secondary elimination that might actually keep this fight in favor of what we're seeing on the side of O1 Esports.
Yeah, that's a nice sound barrier to cause the rear contest to come through. Mind Goblin just reinforcing together. They jump in a little bit too aggressively. Wex going to be coming around this corner with the high noon. Maybe trying to find someone in the air. There are, in fact, a couple people there. Juzo instead going to be able to find the back line. That's going to create such an opportunity for Mind Goblin to take re-control at this point. They don't have a lot of time. Wex doesn't have a lot of HP, but Melon also coming in with this Earth Shatter. Does not want to target the two flyers. And still, O1 Esports rebuffed before the second pick.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said earlier, I'm shocked when a D.Va gets one elimination, let alone two. So, I mean, that is going to be a great bomb. And, oh, poor one just had nowhere to go. Were they to drop, they would have been eliminated all the same. But IMO97 there was just turning the fight around, and Juzo dropped that bomb, kept things alive. So far, a tick and a half in favor of O1 Esports, but a great, I believe, a double shatter coming through from Melon, just keeping the space open, keeping the point away from the side of O1 Esports. We are well over half the time bank gone. Only 60 seconds left on the clock. I mean, we're going to have to see something crazy from O1 Esports and the elimination on Yoham. Maybe just the crazy thing we needed to keep this alive.
That's the key pick. Melon also going to go down. You got to imagine the rest of O1 going to fall quickly behind them. In fact, it is O1 doing such a great job to just cleave apart that backline. Mind Goblin doing a nice bit of work to hold into that corner, but O1 just slowly surrounded them. It didn't work the first time, but that extra space that they took up, that crossfire that meant that they could put in that damage, created that opportunity. Still, Mind Goblin not going to be unhappy with the amount of time they burnt down.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not very reminiscent of what we saw earlier, right? We saw Blizzard World, they were looking pretty good on that. I mean, all things considered, they were able to take the win away. O1 Esports was, and I want to see, you know, they've got less than half of what they had on Blizzard World, so they're definitely working with a smaller time bank. And like I mentioned earlier, I think this Streets phase is where Pharah is the least successful on King's Row, so we're really going to have to see in which way Goku will adapt to succeed.
I like what Mind Goblin's tried to do. They actually managed to push in through that archway there, just be able to actually get caught in a corner, and maybe they've overstayed their welcome right now, relying so heavily on that immortality field. When that thing burns out, you're just throwing a lot of people into it. So Mind Goblin threw out a couple more seconds there, but at the end of the day, you now have 6 ultimates to the side of O1 Esports. Maybe you should have stayed the other side of that archway, but it was worth a shot, and it didn't go too badly, I would think.
Yeah, I'm thinking best case scenario, maybe. I mean, unless O1 Esports just absolutely rolls this upcoming fight with not even a glimpse of a contest coming out from Mind Goblin, which actually might happen as SXJ caught out at 33 health. That is worst case scenario. So actually, my worst fear coming true here. O1 Esports, they're going to have to be able to take this fight pretty easily. Not a tracer in sight here, so a 5v6. They've got the Pharah with little to no contesting, and here comes that barrage. Instead, 0 elimination. Oh, this is a disaster. That is 6 ultimates from the side of O1 Esports. I thought they had this in the bag, but even if they win the fight, they just used everything they had to win it.
Okay, you know what? You said that the Pharah wasn't going to be super useful or get a lot of impact in the Streets phase, so O1 Esports took your advice. They went, you know what? You're right. We're going to dump everything. We're going to get out of the streets as fast as possible. And with only a minute left on the board, they actually didn't have a lot of time, and they're actually not even going to get there. They've got a meter left to go, and there still has been this recontest coming out from Mind Goblin. There are no ultimates left from the side of O1 Esports. They've just been earth-shattered, and this could actually be Mind Goblin being able to turn it around at the death.
No shot. No shot. I mean, I was even talking about, you know, they were going to cap with 0 time on the clock unless they won that fight uncontested. They won the fight uncontested, but somehow Mind Goblin still made it back. SXJ with the double kill escapes at 2 HP. We got to talk about the fact there's 40 seconds left. It's going to take them 20 seconds to even get back there. So this next fight is guaranteed the last opportunity they have. Here's Melon with that phenomenal Earth Shatter. Finds 3, picks up the Ashe, and I believe the Ana wasn't too far behind. Yeah, Juzo found that kill. Yoham does go down, but you will take a 2-for-1 trade any day of the week in Overwatch. I mean, we have seen O1 Esports. I thought they had that in the bag, and now they might get full held before second point.
Goku and Apple's on the verge of getting their ultimates. Mind Goblin just has SXJ with that pulse bomb, and very few blinks left. Looking for something on the back line. Can they try and get it? Throws it towards the supports. Doesn't manage to pick up anyone. Goku coming in from the side with this barrage. Apple's going to get stunned up. Not even going to get off those mines. Now Goku has to find something. Has to find a miracle to be able to keep this alive. Drops it in. Melon's going to go down at the beginning of this fight. That's the only one so far. Now Valera going to be able to pick up Apple. So there are going to be mines left, but it's going to have to go straight through the sound barrier. Mind Goblin has still got a couple people left alive. There is 0.06 meters, and O1 somehow do the work that should have been done a full 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking best case scenario, they cap with 0 time on the clock, right? The King's Row third, I would say, I'm sure people would agree, is one of the hardest points in Overwatch to cap. This is considered insanely difficult the majority of the time, and with the way the Mind Goblin's been playing, I don't expect it to be easy in the slightest here. Juzo has an early bomb, a high noon, gonna be a great zoner there. We might see somebody go down early. SXJ is deep in the back line, but instead isn't gonna fall quite yet. Now the boosters off the high ground from Juzo. I'm a huge fan of the play, but they knocked down 2 people that could fly right out of that hole, so unfortunately no environmental kills coming through yet for Juzo. They're gonna have to ditch the bomb though to get back in the mech, and there it is, up and over the high ground. 0, no, make it 1 kills as 1 will fall the Ana offline here. 37 seconds, your healer, your nano boost gone. And a great double earth shatter there. The bomb, however, no, will be able to keep some folks alive. Yoham finds a kill immediately before, right before being taken out by Goku there. Things are looking bleak for O1 Esport here, but if they can find even 1 more kill, they might be able to turn this back around. Scratch 1, they find 2, and the cart will continue to move, even if just a little bit.
With 15 seconds left, we are going to see Mind Goblin having 1 more attempt at this. They are, in fact, baiting out that time, being able to just get that last SXJ around the back line. The cart moves ever closer right now. Mind Goblin coming out all at the same time. Can they even get back to the point? There is the overtime clicking down. 2 minutes, 2.5 meters. This nano boosted Farah again comes in at the top. Yoham going to go down. There's no immortality field, and the rest of Mind Goblin being pushed towards the side. That shield is going low. The health pack's even lower right now as O1 looking to clear it out. Apple's going to have these mines to scare the last little bit. It seems like Mind Goblin not able to stall it out. They looked like they had been able to pull off a miracle at the end of Street's Face, but it's not going to be there. Midnight strikes. Cinderella being turned back.
Yeah, that was, I mean, things were looking so good there for just a moment for Mind Goblin, but I've got to say the ult economy looked so much better from O1 Esport there. They were just desperate to find that. They used every single ultimate they had, and again, just, I want to give a massive credit to Juzo there, who ate almost an entire nano-boosted barrage coming out of the Goku on the far end there. That was, I mean, I think it might have been like a 5 or 6K had Juzo not been in the right place at the right time, but just probably the largest defense matrix I have ever seen there.
It's individual plays like that that really can change a difference and make such a swing in the impact of the game. Still, Mind Goblin have set themselves up with not an impossible task. We did say that this could be a map that both teams are able to push all the way to the end. And considering that this is a 0-second overtime push to the end, there is still a chance for Mind Goblins to do it faster. But they've got to get there. They've got to get all the way to the end. And it seems like SXJ looking maybe to bring out a Doomfist. We talked about how they might need to do this quickly. And Doomfist is one of those heroes that can get such good pick potential that it might be a secret weapon that Mind Goblin's only bringing out now.
All right, but standing at the door and shooting like that makes me think it's a bait. And that SXJ is probably going to swap off onto something else. But now, I don't know, they expect someone to be up there because the Doom was, so I feel like SXJ is not going to get as much Widowmaker value perhaps as they wanted. We saw a quick body shot, I believe, onto Goku, but not quite landing that headshot. The Venom Mine probably into the character swap here. Yep, going to be back on that Tracer, triple blinking into the engagement here.
Alright, so it's going to be up to Yubi now. Coming out on the Sombra, picking up those hacks is going to be pivotal towards it. Just be able to work it. The Mind Goblin's not giving them any time to start building up something like this. They're onto the back line. SXJ trying to cause havoc there. Goku just being avoided by this passing so far from Mind Goblin.
That's going to be Yubi with that first crucial kill onto SXJ, the first blood in favor of O1 Esports. It's going to be a 5v6, but Mind Goblin definitely looks like they're playing a bit of a long game. They're probably going to go for that slow rotation around to the back, and I'm not a fan of this rotation because look at the clock. You just burned a minute off the clock and lost your Tracer in the process. I mean, this is going to be really hard to turn around, but Mind Goblin might be able to do what we have seen them do the impossible before. SXJ back in the fight, and Goku will be taken offline. The Resurrection comes through. They might trade out the Mercy, but no. Great rocket jump there, or whatever it's called. Great super jump, that's what it's called. From the Mercy, able to keep them alive, and Goku coming back, finding SXJ with the rocket melee combo. O1 Esports, they've got the numbers advantage all over again. We're almost halfway done to the timer here.
Yeah, this is the big thing, is Mind Goblin has chosen we're going to take one fight properly, and yet again, they're just chasing themselves in circles. Goku going to have the barrage now up for the next fight, and if this is a nano barrage, this could be everything again. Juzo trying to shut down that, but jumps it a little bit too early. There's not going to be the defense matrix up. Still Goku going to go down at the end of that, and Mind Goblin needs to make something happen. Melon trying desperately to carry the team.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting here, as I know that Apple's probably going to use that minefield off cooldown, right? Instead, the EMP coming out, able to find the elimination onto Juzo. Yoham falls as well. But now you've commit, what was that, 3 ultimates in that fight. So this is going to be interesting. You've got the minefield, the bomb, and the Valkyrie for the next engagement, but you're about to be defending against almost 5 ultimates. This is certainly going to be tough on the side of O1 Esports, I think, to win this fight.
So, even if they lose this fight, look at the time bank. A minute and a half is not enough time that you want to be capturing the first point, not when you know that you have to go the entire distance here. And so Mind Goblin deciding to take one fight, maybe at the wrong time. We are going to see the high noon. We have also seen that Earth Shatter to start us off. Sound Barrier also being dropped by Mind Goblin.
Oh.
And still, they're just sitting on the point. SXJ still going to fall at the end of that after everything that Mind Goblin threw at this. They're still not going to win this fight.
I mean, they were just hurling everything they had at the wall, but unfortunately, this is just not going to end well for Mind Goblin. I thought they had this. I said it earlier. I think they have the better coordination. I think they have the better discipline as a team, but it is just not working out well for them here. O1 Esports, they are only 60 seconds shy of winning the series 3-2.
60 seconds between making it even further, and Mind Goblin going to be taking their second loss in a row. They lost 3-0 up to Sheer Cold. They've been able to hold it down to such a tight fight here. Still O1 looking so dominant. They managed to beat Rip previously 3-2, now looking at the verge of taking their second, and considering this was the map choice of Mind Goblin, they don't seem to have an answer for the first point.
Yeah, they certainly don't. And you've got to imagine, you know, from what we saw earlier on Havana, they're very comfortable with a payload, but you can't get to the payload. That is where things are really going to start to fall apart here. Melon immediately half health. Immortality field has to be forced out early. Ant Matrix as well. And Yubi, here it is. How many? It's going to be 4 with the EMP, but instead the eliminations very quickly in favor of Mind Goblin. Instead, it's going to be a lot of damage coming out. Melon probably going to die before that Earth Shatter makes an appearance, but now instead, it's that shield back up. The hack doesn't last long enough. There's 1 tick. You need 2 more, and you've got to get this far out of the sky, or she is going to guarantee a loss here. Yoham probably going to die. Falls to Goku, finding a double kill there. Melon taken offline by Yubi. SXJ finds 1, but you've got to find 4 more. Goku picks up 1, make it 2 as the DPS line falls apart. Yubi with the melee kill onto Stravor. Overtime ticks away, and that will be an 0-7 GG there to Mind Goblin as O1 Esports wins the series 3-2.
What a series at the end of the day.
Honestly.
Let's give some big congratulations to both of these teams. I have not seen passionate Overwatch like this in a long time. Both of these teams having an idea of how they wanted to play through this, fighting it out at the end. And I must admit, this moment on the street seemed like the change in tempo, the change in mentality of the two teams.
I mean, that was just, I like the way you said it. There was a lot of passion from these players. This has just been absolutely impressive left, right, and center all the way across the board. All 12 of these players brought their absolute A game, and of course, that's all we can ask for. I've got to say, though, you know, just to peel back a little bit, what a devastating loss for Mind Goblin there. They were seconds, I mean, just minutes away from being able to win King's Row, but they just unfortunately could not crack that first point. So close, yet so unbelievably far away from winning the series and even forcing extra rounds. I've got to say, though, still absolutely phenomenal team there.
Yeah, a pleasure to watch. Absolutely pleasure. Guys, you've got to catch them in the rest of the action that's going to be coming in the rest of the week. We'll give you that information in a second. I think what really broke it for Mind Goblin that they struggled with, and where O1's strength comes in, is what we've said from the beginning. Goku is the foundation of that team. That burst damage, being able to be backed up by Yubi, by Apples, by Imo. All these people who work around picking off a target. The implications of being able to take off 1 or 2 supports in the backline of a fight was seen over and over again. I mean, it wasn't even the barrage, the big like 6Ks that you're worried about.
Right.
It's the consistent ability to clear a point, whether you're talking 2CP or the fact that Mind Goblin was never able to capture the first point on a hybrid map twice. That comes down to Goku and the rest of the team being able to clear off and never giving someone a definite advantage in any particular place.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I definitely want to talk about the fact that, by no means an insult to Goku, as I'm sure they could dunk on me any given day of the week, but the fact that if a team can just figure out how to disable that Pharah, O1 Esports falls apart. I mean, they have a very clear weakness, and if a team can find out how to take advantage of said weakness, I think we could really see O1 Esports start to crumble a little bit. But we are going to get to talk to somebody from O1 Esports. I'm not completely sure who is. They sent us their real gamer tag, not the account they were using, so I don't know which player it is. But we'll find out in just a couple of minutes. We're going to throw it to a super short break. Don't go far for the interview and even more Overwatch after that. We'll see you soon. What is going on, all you tanks, healers, and damage dealers, and welcome back. We are going to be interviewing Navarella, however, that was the Mercy player whose name I couldn't and still can't pronounce, aka Levitate. So my first question, a simple one, my friend. How are you? How do you feel after that nail-biting series?
I'm feeling good. Happy that we could close out with a win. Was really hard series, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I definitely want to ask, I know that, Altruism and I talked about this a little bit. You obviously weren't on the call yet, but there was certainly that turning point on King's Row where things were feeling really rough for you, kind of bleak, and then you use 6 ultimates. And if you go back and watch, both of us are like, oh, that's a bad idea. But you do emerge victorious on the fight, and then you carry the momentum forward. So was that just the mindset of use everything we have and try to win, or was that more of an accident that just ended in your favor?
No, that was definitely an accident. We actually only called for like 2 ults or something, like 2 ults max. But like, I guess in the gist of things, we just used a lot of ults there.
You got to remember to say which two alts you wanting to use. You can't just be like, we're using two, and then everyone's like, that's me, right? Yeah, I'm one of the two. Well played to you guys in general. There were a couple of iffy moments. Talk me through what happened on Numbani, my friend.
Numbani, we didn't play Numbani.
Oh wait, that was the previous series. My apologies. No, it was at this stage. You guys went back and forth between you and your opponents at this stage. Mind Goblin gave you a tough run. What do you think they managed to do that shut you down when they managed to, and what did you get right when you looked stronger than they did?
I think they're like a very, very strong team in the collective, I think. They have a very, very good DPS line in my opinion. SXJ is very, very good in my opinion. I have to give a shout out to him. Really good player.
Yeah, so I think the question Old was trying to ask you was about Havana, and we were definitely curious to hear about what happened there, because you guys were looking pretty dominant at that point in the series, and then you got a little bit rolled on Havana there. It was certainly looking bleak, so I'm curious what kind of changed there in your momentum to where they were able to take that away so convincingly.
In my opinion, Havana is like by far our worst map.
Sure.
We have Apples, who's like a ball specialist, and basically, we have Goku as well, who of course, as you notice, is a very good Pharaoh player. So, yeah, I think it was kind of because of that, because we were forced on uncomfortable comps.
Sure.
But I'm just happy that we got out with the win at the end.
Now, a lot of our hypothesis around your team lineup seems to revolve around Goku, this big burst damage. You are obviously very closely linked to Goku. Is that sort of the mentality of your team? Goku needs to go get that initial burst damage, and then you've got people like Yubi and Apples and Imo being able to follow up on that sort of damage. Is that the general idea, or is it just a team synergy? We're all going for dive on the same thing.
It's not necessarily that we all play for Goku's damage, but I think it's like very important for us that we lay down the spam and then we like execute on the kills with the trace and the ball. Or at least for some cooldowns with the Pharaoh damage, of course. So you could say that he's pretty important, but I wouldn't say that he's like our everything, or like we 100% only play for him.
I like that.
Yes. So I definitely want to ask one more question without, giving away any comps or strategies. Are there any teams you haven't gone up against that you're kind of maybe looking forward to or not looking forward to playing?
Not looking forward to, of course, Sheercold.
Sure,
very
naturally.
Strong team. Very good individual players, very good team play. Team looking forward to go against, definitely another multiverse, and avoid it because of the OD finals. Another multiverse because I have a lot of friends there.
Awesome.
So I'm definitely looking forward to these, yeah.
Good to hear.
I must admit, I'm looking forward to that first game tomorrow for you guys. It is, who is the old avoided side? A little bit of animosity between you guys. Certainly a good, healthy rivalry at the best. Look, anything you want to say to your team? You guys played incredibly well, and anything you want to say to your opponents, because man, that was exciting till the last moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely want to say thank you to the coaching staff. Thank you to IQB coming in clutch with the somber pick at the end. Thanks for the heads up, bro. And to the opponent team, I think you played really well, and I'm like really confident that they can get a high place in these trials. Maybe even make contenders. So yeah, well played to them definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I believe that is all the questions we have for you, Levitate. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And Old said it a couple of times, but I'll say it again. Thanks for giving us just an amazing series. Absolutely, just a phenomenal series to watch.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. And with that, folks, I believe that brings Olt and I's time to a close. Well, technically, EU Contenders' time to a close here today. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. It has been a wild ride, an absolute pleasure. I'm sure I can say that for Olt and myself. It is always awesome to be here and bring you guys what is some of the top tier-est Overwatch there is. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. A huge shout out to both of the teams. Keep an eye on NA Contenders, folks. They're going to be coming out in about an hour and a half, so definitely keep an eye on those two amazing games later today. Check your posture, drink some water, and don't forget to love each other. We love you all very much. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.